folks, we're back. Fourth quarter's back in action. And yes, I am your host, Shimmy, tonight with the other guest hosts up in this biatch. I got my boy Timothy Spooney coming out of Dallas. I got the objectively biased one, Mr. Fox, coming straight out of the brotherly love city. Mr. Dula, a.k.a. Kyle. Look at this guy. Dedication, 100% attendance, because this guy's en route to Vegas right now to get hammered. And we got Steel City Brian joining us tonight. We're just missing our wine entrepreneur, Mr. Sutton, a.k.a. Colt 45. But
Cheers.
Folks, we got a good show for you folks. We're going to be doing the AFC North predictions tonight. But to start off, we're going to segue with a couple interesting topics. So Fogmig actually kind of segued us into this NFL Top 100 talk. But first, we're going to start off with the Odell comments. He actually had a great introduction question to us in the fourth quarter Quarrel messenger group. And I thought I think it's a legit question, because I think you could also hamper this with Landon Collins too, because they're the two most chatty Cathys, ex-Giants, that are pretty much still getting interviewed, because they bring a great media personality and they're always going to get the clicks. But Odell, that was a great question, Fogmeg. Is Odell helping or hurting himself with his continuous and most recent comments? And Fogs, I'm going to let you start off on that, and then I'll let the rest of the panel hit it up and see what we got.
Well, I appreciate that, Josh. Thank you so much. And the reason it has to be asked is because we had Giants fans and, fans against the Giants, anti-Giants fans, let's call them, who were on two sides of the spectrum when Odell was in New York, right? We had why would they? He's the best talent we've ever had since Lawrence Taylor. We need to have him. No one's going to trade him. We're not going to get rid of him. And then they sign him to a big contract. Well, why would they sign him to trade him? And Dave Gettleman doubles down with it and says, why would we sign him to trade him? And then a year later, after it all blows up in their faces, boom, he's traded. And now, Gettleman made the right decision. He was a problem. We saw he was a problem. The fandom is a big issue, but I think the bigger issue is because of the fandom of Giants fans and other fans of football watching this. Is Odell doing himself a disservice by continuing to harp on his displeasure or his discontent with the breakup that he just had with the New York Giants? And I think at the end of the day, he is. Your play is going to answer all questions. Your play is going to shut up the Giants fans who are now flip-flopping and going against you. Your play is going to make Cleveland a football town that has been completely irrelevant. As a matter of fact, the last time they were relevant was when Art Modell picked up and moved them to Baltimore overnight. So it's time to just, you've said your piece multiple times. It's time to just be silent. And when asked these questions, because it's not like he's coming out there saying, I need to say this or say that. He's being asked. He's being provoked. It's time to be intelligent. Understand that you're being provoked and goaded into having a conversation that is going to create a whirlwind around you from a media aspect and an attention aspect, and just say, hey, we've parted ways. It's over and done with. I'm a Cleveland Brown. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, and to kind of support your thesis there about the Giants fans, I absolutely was always backing Odell in every situation that I could as a Giants fan every single week. And then there was a turning point. And I believe Tim recalls this, but I was doing the research and I thought it was against the Vikings, but I was wrong. It was actually October 11th, 2018, when the Giants were playing the Philadelphia Eagles. That's when I started to personally, as a fan, turn on Odell with my fandom. That was when I said I was the most embarrassed I've ever been as a Giants fan, because at the time it was he was throwing his diva fucking act of needing to go get an IV at halftime, when in reality he was just throwing a conniption fucking fit because the scheme wasn't going in his way, his targets weren't going his way, and the whole fucking offense and team was just playing abysmal. But yeah, he just needed an IV, and oh, he's allergic to water, you guys. Did you know that? He just doesn't like water that much. Okay, awesome fucking excuse. So that was October 11th of last year is when I really started to kind of turn towards not really liking Odell in blue and with all this fucking antics. And I could tell he's never going to get the it factor. The it factor of get the fuck off me and eyes in your statements. When are you going to realize it's about the team? And it doesn't even matter if you really don't 100% think that, but the words coming to your mouth are really going to echo for an eternity. And you need to fucking have that up here to be able to say that, I'm thankful for the organization. Thank you, blah, 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 for Blue, and the Mara organization. Going forward, I just look forward to playing with Mayfield. Well, blah, blah. Why is it so hard to say that? I understand he wants to get off his true feelings, but it makes him sound so bitter about the whole damn thing. It's you got your money, you're playing with your BFF from LSU. Are you really that fucking sad? Come the fuck on. That's all I really had to say about it.
I was just I know Tim's itching to talk, so let me get mine out because if I let Tim go, I'll never get my shit out. So, so the question that Steven posed was: is Odell hurting, or he said hurting or helping himself, or just hurting? Because
I would say hurting himself. Yeah.
is it okay? So is he? Oh, look, we lost Fall. He's back. But I would say I don't see how he's hurting himself when Josh, you just say he got his money. So it's not like he's trying to get paid. He already got paid. He's got $65 million in guaranteed money. He won't be a free agent. He won't be a free agent until 2024. So he's already got his money. I don't know how he's hurting himself off the field because Odell is probably still one of the top athletes on the planet. And honestly, one of the most popular athletes on the planet, just based off of who he is. Obviously, the hair, he cut it. He's still a pretty big guy on social media. He's still pretty active in, and doing all these things off the field. So I don't know. I don't think it's hurting his pockets. It's probably helping him a little more, actually, helping his pockets a little more with all the pub and all the publicity he's getting. And the guy was just on the cover of GQ. So I don't think it's hurting him in that aspect. I don't think it's hurting his pockets. I don't think it's really hurting him. I don't think it's going to hurt him on the field. I think one thing Odell needs to do is focus on staying healthy. And I think that kind of cultivates on his frustration as well. Even though I don't think he's really touched on that. I don't think anybody really has. I think Odell's really frustrated because he's been hurt the last couple of years. Remember, he broke his leg, I believe, 2 years ago. And then last year, he had either a bum quad or hamstring. So he was working on that. And I think that kind of cultivated a lot of frustration with him. And then obviously, the Giants are just not a good team, And I think that cultivated it as well. So I think that's a lot of the frustration kind of boiled up with his attitude and his diva behavior. And then lastly, guys, you have to remember, you have to remember the position Odell Beckham plays. He plays wide receiver. I've rarely seen a wide receiver not use I statements. Hello, Pittsburgh Steelers fan, we just got rid of one. Okay, Mr. Big Chest, AB, right. I know all about diva wide receivers. Steven, you know about diva wide receivers. Hello, Terrell Owens. Come on now. Okay. Tim, you know all about diva wide receivers. You had a couple of them, 3 of them. Michael Irvin, you had Des Bryant, and you had T.O. You know all about diva wide receivers. I think at the end of the day, you have to remember the position this guy plays. You got to remember he's a social media megastar, and he's gonna want camera time. I'm not a Giants fan, but I can understand a Giants fan's point of view of being fed up and frustrated with him. But to be honest, I don't know if I can really say he's the best player since Lawrence Taylor. That's kind of a stretch. I don't know who said that, but I know I just kind of a stretch. I would think Michael Strahan may have something to say about that. But anyways, I will say that Odell Beckham Jr. is one of the, at the time, from 2013 to last year, it was probably one of the most important Giants in a long time. And I understand that. I completely understand his frustration of the team not really, I can't really say putting much around him, but not really exercising his ability to his fullest extent. But at the same time, There's a lot that goes into that. So, to kind of just close out, I don't think he's hurting himself at all. I just want to see the guy ball. That's what I want to see. Odell Beckham Jr. healthy, and I want to see him play football. That's what he can say whatever the hell he wants to say. It doesn't bother me. I just want to see the guy play football. That's it.
Tim.
Steven, are you available?
He's there. He's just hiding his face right now.
Okay. He's hiding his face right now.
Yeah.
He's tearing up. Probably crying. There we go, Steven.
Tim,
right.
for you, I'm always available.
Thank you, brother. Because I have to give this shout out first to my man Stephen Fogman, who stood by me and challenged all the dollars around the world when we both predicted Odell Beckham Jr. will be traded. Not only did we predict it that he'll be traded, but we said why. So it wasn't no troll. It was a true statement. When he got paid, no, he's here for life. But the minute week 8 season came upon and he was out for the rest of the season with no injury, but he's showing up at Laker game, basketball games, parties. I see no cast. I see no brace. We all knew it was a sign. Now, staying with the question, is Odell Beckham Jr. hurting himself? No, he's not. Ladies and gentlemen, for all the 4QQ members who are watching this show, I'm going to read out a couple of names. This is the last time the Browns made it to the playoffs. Kelly Holcomb, William Green, Kevin Johnson, Andre Davis, Dennis Northcutt, Sean O'Hara, Kennard Lang, Gerard Warren, wow, Earl Holmes. 2003, that is 16 years ago since the Browns made the playoff, and they lost a tight game, 33-36 to the Steelers, who beat them. 16 years ago, the Browns made the playoffs. Now, the Browns, ever since that, been the laughingstock of the NFL. The minute you say the Browns will win a game, we all laugh. We all say, oh, come on, you're bugging out. Browns ain't winning shit. They ain't winning a damn thing. What Odell Beckham Jr. is doing right now, he is putting the Cleveland Browns on the map. That's what he's doing. He's making this team irrelevant, a team to look at. Because remember, there's a business. I visited Cleveland Browns Stadium with a couple of Cowboy fan members a couple of years ago. The ticket sales was $45 lower level. If you go to Giants Stadium, that shit is $700 to start off with. So again, Odell Beckham Jr. is making the Cleveland Browns irrelevant to be relevant. That's what he's doing right now. Now, going forward, should he be upset with the Giants? Of course he should be upset. Let's just keep it real. Has anybody been to Cleveland Brown City?
Hell no.
Ain't like New York. I've been there. Ain't like New York at all.
It's trash.
It's trash. Listen, when you in New York, you got Manhattan. You got the 5 boroughs you can visit and have a good time. In Cleveland, you ain't got shit.
There's no visuals to put up a goddamn LeBron blanket across the whole apartment building.
In Cleveland, you got about 3 sports bars. 3 sports bars. Guess what? The rest of the stores close at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. There ain't nothing going on in Cleveland. It's boring. Don't we all remember Marshawn Lynch saying, I don't want to stay in Buffalo. It's boring out here. There you go. Odell Beckham Jr. is a party guy. He no longer can party in New York City. He got a party in Cleveland in front of who? What's out there? Right now, if myself, Josh, Stephen Fogman, and Brian and Della go out of Cleveland right now, we're the hot topic. We're the stars out there. Hey, Odell, you can party with us. We show you a good time because there ain't shit out in Cleveland. I'm just keeping it real. There ain't nothing out in Cleveland. Now, going forward, the minute he got released, did anybody even do any research on how he got released? Gettleman, now don't get me wrong, Gettleman never drafted Odell, but damn, you talked to him as if he was a practice squad guy. Hey, I'm just gonna release you, let you know you got traded to the Cleveland Browns. That's it. and hung up the phone. Not even Mara came to his aid. No other anybody from management. Gettleman treating him like he was a second-rate, third-rate player.
Soprano move right there.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He had to do what he had to do, and I'm not saying Gettleman did anything wrong as far as the business side of the trade. Because again, if Daniel Jones pans out, if he pans out, and them other players pan out in a couple of years, then we could then right there we could judge the trade. It's too soon to judge it right now. But again, Odell is like, damn. I put the people in the seats. I made you guys look. I made you guys watchable on Monday Night Football and primetime games. I was a star of the show, but you treat me like a nobody, and in the way you handle me, that's why he's bitter. So going forward, I'm going to say no. He's putting Cleveland on the map right now of the most watched team, one of the most team to watch this season. And because of that, Cleveland, we're going into discussions later on when it comes to the about the records. I'm going to say this, just end it off with this. If Odell do what he do, again, you just never know. And on top of that, he's loaded with more talent around him than he had with the Giants. All he had with the Giants as far as talent was Saquon Barkley. And that brother's bad. That's the matrix right there out of all running backs. I give it to Brian and I give it to Fogman when they've been talking about this shit. I see that firsthand at the game. That fucked up my eyes.
Spoonie.
So yes.
You know what kills me about the primetime shit, though? With Odell, it's like,
what's that?
Oh my god, I'm the reason you guys were in prime time all the time. Oh my god, Giants, you're the reason you were on at 8:30 and 8:20 on some nights.
Thank you so fucking much, Odell, for that 8-16 fucking primetime record because you had ramen noodle hair and you did all this athletic shit. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm gonna miss all those fucking primetime games to go 8-16.
Wait a minute, hold on. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, both of you. I like this energy. Fuck yeah.
Here's the thing with that, Josh.
Here's my fucking lightning.
This isn't about the fan. This isn't about the fans. That's the problem. This is about what money the organization was getting in and the position that they were getting placed in by having Odell. You could have a shitty team as long as you got a star player. People are going to watch. Remember, the Detroit Lions sucked for years, but they managed to find themselves on prime time when Barry Sanders was there. So it's not necessarily about how the fans feel, but it's about the financial aspect for the organization. To comment on Brian, what you said about him hurting himself, that he's not hurting himself. And Tim, to you too, he is hurting himself if he underperforms this season. So this is a double-edged sword. It's twofold. I put out my top 10 quarterbacks in the 90s, and everyone said, everyone wanted context, so I gave them rushing and defense, and now it's like, what about winning percentage, right? Well, here's the thing. Winning percentage, because that is a public perception and people are going to look at that. If Odell just goes, 1,100 yards and 8 or 9 touchdowns with, 80 receptions this season, and the Browns go, 7-9, it's going to be an epic failure. So everything that he has said, regardless of how the Giants finish, if the Cleveland Browns don't live up to the public perception of division winners, potential Super Bowl contenders, it's going to be a failure. And the more Odell shit talks about the organization that he just parted ways with, the more of a spotlight is going to be placed on him. The more of a magnifying lens is going to be placed on him from public.
Y'all still talking about this?
So hold on, Steven. Let me.
It's a good banter.
Let me.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Okay, all right.
One second. So let me just make sure I understood what you said. So if you're saying he's hurting himself if the Browns have a bad year, or if Odell has a bad year?
Both, right? If they don't make the playoffs, fuck.
Well, I don't see,
even if Odell has a good year.
Here's the thing, though. This is my my issue with that statement, and I don't understand how this is possible, because I feel like we all agree with this, that wide receiver, the position of wide receiver, right, is the most dependable position not in sports, but in football. Like, you have to have a lot happen and go your way in order to have a good year, or in order to have a good game. If that,
Brian,
right? So,
but we're again, I understand exactly where you're going to go with this, and I agree with you 100%. Right. But where the aspect that I'm attacking this from is from a strictly fan and sports analyst and public perception aspect, not a knowledgeable football aspect, because most of these sports analysts couldn't use our toilet paper to wipe their ass when it comes to sports knowledge. So the fact of the matter, this is a public perception aspect. This is a fan aspect, and this is essentially, well, they didn't do anything. The team didn't succeed. So all he is a selfish diva. Yeah, he got his numbers, but he went to Cleveland and he got the same result in Cleveland that he was getting in New York with a better team around him, which is going to make him look even worse.
Right. I agree. I agree where you're coming from with that. And I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm disagreeing with that perception, because
I agree. I agree with you.
Don't think Odell can do really much to help his team. I mean, he can help his team win, but it can only go so far. If Baker Mayfield goes down, God forbid, because I want to see him play, but if Baker Mayfield goes down and Odell Beckham is stuck with some fourth string Deshaun Kaiser, I don't know who the backup is on that team, and it's over, then it's over. Like, you can't put that on Odell Beckham Jr. If Odell Beckham shows out and has, I don't know, 96 catches for 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, right? If he gets something like that, but the team still underperforms, let's say defensively they underperform and they finish 8-8, 9-7, and miss the playoffs, the perception is going to be, for me, is Odell is still a top 5, top 3 wide receiver in the league, just on a average team, which I think the Browns are going to be this year, because I don't think they're going to be able to live up to those expectations. But that's another story. So I agree and understand where you're coming from. You're exactly right. I don't agree with that perception that fans are going to have, because you're right, though. They are going to say that. But it actually brings me to my last point, is like, with Giants fans, one thing that Giants fans always, it kind of just irks me a little bit, right? One thing they always like to bring up with Odell, and Timothy, you like to bring this up too, is his playoff performance, right? But Odell can only control that so much when you only get targeted 7 times.
No.
I think he had 11 targets.
Yeah, wait.
But hold up. But wait a minute.
Double digits.
Wait a minute. He had 11 targets. Fine.
Yeah, Brian, I hate that shit, because he just talked about that too, saying, I know I didn't perform well, but I can only do it when I'm not getting targeted. You didn't perform well. You just said why the fuck you weren't getting targeted.
But he's right, though. He's right. He admitted to it. He admitted to as much. He sucked in that game. But dude, he's a wide receiver. If it was a quarterback, I get that. I mean, you sucked. Like, but he's the wide receiver, and the whole idea that he went out, I don't really buy the whole idea that he went out before and the whole boat thing. I don't really buy that. He had a bad game. The whole damn team had a bad game. It was a bad performance by the New York Giants, and Odell Beckham Jr. just happened to be the face of the franchise.
You get some time in,
so
brother.
he's gonna get the whole
Yeah. Look, any one of you that said that it's gonna hurt him or help him, all of you are wrong. It's not gonna make a damn difference what he said in that interview. First things first. I'm a little irritated, because you talk about Odell and he's talking, do the whole GQ thing, makes his comments about the Giants. But don't we always talk about, who's the leader of the team, the quarterback, right? And let's look at the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield. This is a guy who, by the way, this offseason has called out Duke Johnson, and for whatever really strange fucking reason, talked about Sam Ehlinger, who's a college quarterback at Texas. Are you kidding me? So this is par for the course. You have a quarterback that runs his mouth. You have a wide receiver that, for better or for worse, runs his mouth. Some of it's true, some of it isn't. And I don't see what the damn difference is going to be. In terms of public perception, we're going to perceive Odell the way we perceived him. He's a wide receiver. Receivers tend to have a diva mentality to them because it's me, me, me. I just want to bring this up that Odell actually is a pretty good athlete, right? Could have been a basketball player. Could have played soccer. I think soccer was his first love. Has a pretty nice golf swing, right? I feel as if Odell is kind of stuck that he picked the ultimate team sport to be the best at. When if you're talking about tennis or golf, it's all on you. I think that would suit him a lot more. That if the spotlight is all on him. Right now, he's just one guy out of 11 on an offense. And say what you want about the Giants. I know I will. I think David Gettleman's a moron for a lot of reasons. But I will give them this, that things change, right? When they gave him that contract last year, I don't think they expected to go, what they go, 4-12, 3, whatever they went this season. What was their record?
Who?
The Giants.
5-11.
5-11.
I mean, when they gave him that contract, I don't think that was in hope of we're gonna go 5-11, right? So things change, right? Maybe after that, and after coming off 2 back-to-back pretty bad seasons, maybe it's like, hey, let's cut bait and try to build this team a different way, right? I'm not mad at that at all. I'm just mad at, like, as we've alluded to, kind of the backtracking that's going on, not just fans, but within the own organization. Like, my problem with David Gettleman is very simple. It goes back to the Daniel Jones thing, where he went to great lengths to justify the pick. Fuck that. You're the GM. Just say that was your guy. You picked him at 6, and that's it. Same thing with this Odell thing, the back and forth about, well, we really didn't want him to go. Then why did you trade him? Come on. It was a business move. You moved on. You traded him to Cleveland. Whether he blows up or not, I don't think that team is better than 9-7. And it is what it is. Life goes on. So no, I don't think it affects either way. I don't think it's going to hurt him or help him.
I mean, if I may, Shim, real quick, I just want to add on to what Brian was saying earlier about the playoff thing. The only thing I'm worried about Odell Beckham Jr. this as a Cleveland Brown is if they do fail, is he the type of guy? Well, you see him do with Eli Manning and the Giants. Will he throw his players under the bus? Those are the things that could hurt the whole team. Well,
you want to do it?
But here's the beauty, Tim.
He's going to be on his best behavior this year, and if it continues, if they continue to fail, then you'll start to see.
Tim, here's the thing: if they fail in Cleveland, no one cares. No one's gonna care.
No. Media
Browns. This is par for the course.
No. Media will care. They want a story.
They're gonna care this year for the reasons you said that you brought up about Baker Mayfield. They love the media. I think love Baker Mayfield. I think they love this kid. I think they love his confidence. They love he comes out and talks shit about anybody and backs it. Or he hasn't backed anything up yet, but they love his moxie. They've loved Baker Mayfield since he planted that Ohio or Oklahoma flag into Ohio State Stadium. That's when Baker Mayfield's status took off.
Which is
kind of hypocritical because
exactly
Baker's this kind of outlandish and boisterous guy who talks a lot of shit about his players and other guys like you alluded to, and Odell will do that and he gets kind of clowned for it.
That's my point exactly. They do the same shit.
But here's the thing.
Baker hasn't really proved much yet.
Here's the thing.
Not yet.
Oh, I can't wait till we get to predictions.
There is a couple of people out there already, and there's a base out there already that's looking at Baker Mayfield and they're criticizing. They're talking trash about him. So make no mistakes. The same belief that I have on Odell and the success or lack thereof that the Browns are going to have this year, regardless of what he does, is going to be the same. We're going to see this love for Baker Mayfield and love for the Cleveland Browns drastically change when they don't make the playoffs this season and Baker Mayfield struggles to even duplicate what he did last season. Trust and believe me when I say this. I've gone on this entire topic. It hasn't been, and Kyle and Brian, let me explain it to you again. It's not about our football thoughts on this.
You're right.
This is
You're
about public perception
You're right.
and how they're going to view him. I am in 100% agreement with you guys on this, but it's going to be the perception of sports analysts. It's going to be the perception of fans or non-fans, how they are going to view this. That's why I say it is ultimately a detriment to him, and he's better off duct taping his mouth shut as opposed to continuing to do these interviews and continue to talk about his bitter breakup with the Giants.
And this is gonna be my last comment on it, and it's actually gonna piggyback off of what you said, Fogmeg. Public perception, it's so inconsistent anyway. I could energy check public perception because it's not consistent. As we just said, Baker Mayfield does the exact same shit, if not worse, than Odell Beckham. Because in fact, it is worse, to be honest with you. And that's what's weird about it is that public perception changes so quickly and for no reason that it's hard to really get a gauge on it. Like I really am convinced that if the Browns fail to make the playoffs, I know there's hype. I know there's been hype and there's going to be hype given the roster, right? I feel as if they don't make it, I'll put it this way. If Odell was in New York still and they go 5-11 again, I think there's more hell there than if the Browns go 8-8 and miss the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
I think that's just the Cleveland New York continuum, right? That the Browns have failed for years and no one gives a damn. It's par for the course, right? But I see kind of what you mean of, the spotlight is gonna start to shine, especially after week 1, week 2, week 3. And we see what this team is really about. So, yeah.
But again, it's funny. Then this is a perfect segue, Josh, to the NFL players, top 100 players in the league, because it's all about it's all based on perception. And it's funny that we're having this conversation because when we could segue now into our next topic of the top and the NFL players, top 100 players in the NFL. They had Carson Wentz, ironically ranked 96, I think it was, as opposed to 3rd last season. And you look at the perception, there is no way a single football player can have such a swing from one end of the spectrum to the complete other end of the spectrum off of injury. Because that's what this is all based on. This is based predominantly on injury. And the performance of clipboard Foles in that system. So when you look at how these guys are ranking these players, is it an honest thing for me to turn around and say these guys don't know their ass from a hole in the ground? Even though they're NFL players and they're grading their contemporaries, to turn around and have such a big swing on someone like Carson Wentz, where he would go from 3rd ranked, which I completely disagreed with last season, to the 96th ranked, which I completely disagree with this season. Am I wrong for suggesting or saying that?
No, my thing is with the top 100 list is there's always going to be a lot of turnover, in my opinion, unless you're the Tom Brady of the NFL, obviously. But there's quite a few factors that go into it because, like I was saying earlier in the messenger group when we were having a little slight discussion on this, you talk about the teams that you face during the year. You're not facing all 32 teams, so realistically, you can't even judge all the players on that season. You're facing two of each team in your division twice, and then on top of that, that's 8 games. So, and on top of it, you only have 8 other teams to play. So 12 teams out of the 32, you're virtually playing every single year. So how the hell are you going to really have a pretty competent list. And I've seen in the past too, where players have shown or, given us glimpses, media access or little Snapchat, type of shit they like to share. I've seen in the past where Giants players in the past where they've had the NFL top 100 list and they're signing it, oh, guess who's my number one? And they would put Eli Manning. I mean, seriously?
Mm-hmm. Right. I was gonna say that too, yeah.
Exactly, because there's always going to be the phantom too of teammates
biases.
supporting their guy, like a Rashad Jennings being like, Eli, number one on my list, man. And that's how they're just going to be a teammate-ish type guy. They're always going to do that type of shit. But then you do have the people that are realistic. They'll actually sit down probably in their little cubby inside the locker room and probably spend a good fucking 2 hours because they actually pride themselves on trying to give the most accurate reading. Others, they'll probably just list the first 53 of their own teammates and then Tom, Saquon, JJ Watt. So it's definitely, you take it with a grain of salt, but I feel ultimately it does give you a good grasp of there's 1,696 total fucking players in the league. So to be in the top 100, it gives you a really good grasp of who was making the most significant impact on that year and who really is the biggest, elite of the bulk of the league. So, I mean, there is some truth to it, but ultimately, no, don't put your fucking stock into it at all. Yeah, don't lose sleep over it.
Bias was going to be my main argument. You just took the argument right out of my mouth. I mean, I think what players, as it pertains to Carson Wentz, I think obviously the players weren't going off. I don't think they were really going off last year because obviously they know that he was coming off an ACL injury last year. I think a lot of them were still going off 2017, right, where he was an MVP candidate before he went down against the Chargers. And then obviously, like Kyle, I mean, like Josh said, there's a lot of bias that goes into this. I mean, I'm pretty sure that,
But Brian.
Go ahead.
His 2018 ranking
was 3, right?
Was 3.
Right.
And now all of a sudden it dropped to 96.
I think one of the things is, I think you have to kind of think about.
I think the MVP talks got into their heads too. Some of the players,
absolutely,
yeah. I was gonna say that MVP talks got into their heads as well. I think that, and that's still a lot. I mean, that's probably one of the reasons why they kept Wentz over Foles. I mean, over Foles. I mean, the MVP talks. He's kind of riding that wave still, and players kind of recognize that and still kind of harping on that as well. And that's what I think it reflected on where he is now. But I mean, like Josh said, that this is. I mean, the players apparently, from what I just researched, the players write down their top 20 players, and then they kind of go by like a point system, and then I think if your number one ranked player gets like 20 points, and then your last place player gets 1 point, and they kind of gauge it by that. So the players aren't even like ranking their whole top 100. They're just pretty much putting down their favorite 20 players, which could be like 5 teammates and their quarterback, and then they're submitting it. And like Josh said, I really don't think many of them are really taking it that seriously. I think they're just kind of putting down their buddies, their teammates, their quarterback, and then maybe the last 5 are really guys who are actually the best in the league. So I think the last maybe like 10 are actually legit. I think top 10 might be legit. I think players actually really think about that because Brady is always like number one. Who was number one last year? Brady. It was Brady, AB, Carson Wentz, Julio Jones, and then Le'Veon Bell. I think players actually believe outside of Carson Wentz, those 4 are actually the top 5, top 10 players. So I think players take maybe their number 1, 2, and 3 guys seriously, but their 4 through 20 guys, I mean, they're just kind of just putting guys in there. I mean, I don't really know how many offensive players they have to have or defensive players. They doesn't really say that. So, put their college buddies down there, high school buddies are going on there. I mean, like somebody probably put like Darius Geis on their thing. Like, seriously, he didn't even play last year. So, I mean, people are putting any name down there. So you can't really take it for a grain of salt, but I do believe that, once you get to around like 15, 10 through 1, I do believe that's where it kind of starts getting legitimate. Everything else is kind of like, whatever. But
so let me actually add to that why, this isn't really a true top 20 list. First of all, and this is just, I see this in an article on NBC Sports. I mean, like you said, you're only listing your top 20. So it's not even a top 100. It's basically they aggregate all these and go off the point total, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with that said, something else that no one's touched on is when do the ballots go out? They actually go out around They actually are around Thanksgiving time.
Yeah, thank you.
They try to coincide it with the Pro Bowl.
Mhm.
And one thing to note, I think 2 years ago, only 28% of players turned the thing in.
Mhm.
So 28% of the NFL players, like Josh, how many players in the league?
1696.
28% of them
Yeah.
voted. 28%. That's nowhere near half, right? So, and you don't know the composition of the 28%. So, as far as explaining how does Carson Wentz go from 3 to 90, whatever the hell he was this year, there is no explanation. It doesn't really make much sense because he was playing at the same level this year as last year. They are factoring in probably, he got hurt again. Is this guy really? But then again, I thought this was about your play on the field. When he's on the field, he's a top 10 quarterback, right? Some would say top 5 even. The fact that he got hurt is just a part of the game. So anyone factoring in the game or off the field stuff, like I don't get that. I know one thing. I will I'll shit on that list if Nick Foles is anywhere on it. I know that much.
Just for our math fans, that means only 474 players voted a couple years ago out of 1696. So
right, so that's not half of the league. That's such a small amount. And again, we don't know where the votes even came from, right? For all you know, for whatever reason, there could have been a far bigger proportion of, say, Cowboys players that responded versus Chargers. So there's obvious sampling and representation bias there. So I don't know. Those are statistical terms for anyone that took a stats course in college, but there's so much bias wrapped up in this that is kind of worthless. It's just a nice little segue into the season because you can't talk about shit outside of what the draft is long gone. We're rolling into training camp. You gotta have some sort of programming. I guess this fits the bill.
So, Tim, before you go into any type of rant about where Dak Prescott might be, or Amari Cooper might be, or Zeke Elliott might be, we just gave you the numbers, the mathematics, the statistics. Please proceed with caution.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm telling you, Tim, if you say something that's contrary to what I just said, I'm shitting on you all night.
This is my goal. It's my turn to speak.
Can I interrupt him, Josh?
Wait. The only thing I
do not interrupt me.
See, the only thing I respect in any top 100, I respect the top 100 players coming out the draft. I respect that. I respect that's about it in football. When it comes to this shit right here, it's strictly biased. It really is. The position that holds the most that holds the football the most is quarterback. No quarterback should be in the fucking 90s. No disrespect. But Carson Wentz, if he didn't play a whole full season, why is he on this fucking list? That's my next argument. No quarterback should be next to cornerbacks, a guard, or defensive lineman. Because at the end of the day, when you lose the game, who has the mic in their fucking face? The quarterback. Who has the mic in their face when they win? The quarterback. Who's the most likely to win the MVP of a Super Bowl? The quarterback. So no quarterback should be in the 90s. If you're in the 90s, but meanwhile, like Carson Wentz, he got injured. We all know Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. He played great that year. They won the championship. Unfortunately, he got hurt. At the same time, last season, he was nowhere near that. It wasn't the same kind of season for him to be in the 90s. And I can understand if it was the same season when they went to the championship and he's in the 90s. Okay, maybe there's a little argument there, but no quarterback should be in the 90s at all. It should be the offensive lineman, the defensive lineman, the guys that they don't talk about, especially when it's only players. Because I remember the first year when NFL Network started this, it was really the analysts who voted. It was a little bit more legit. After that, they went lazy, and now it's the players. Remember, players hate each other. Players hate the other team. And on top of that, who am I to vote if I play the same division team twice and I don't get to play the other guy over there because he's not on my schedule for me to say that the guy plays better than him? That just makes no sense. You're not playing everybody every week. You're only playing the division. 2 divisions you're playing pretty much every year. So again, the only thing I like about it is its highlights. It gets maybe fans hyped up getting into the season. Like we all hyped the fuck up. Hey, Madden come out next week. Preseason next Thursday. Can't talk. It's football time. It's here. So that's the only thing I say, you know what, fine. If you want to put it out there to get the fans hyped up, get ready for the season, that's fine. Other than that, I really don't go by it. Now, I understand that Dak Prescott may not be on this list. Now, I'm not saying Dak Prescott is he's not Pat Mahomes in one season. You know, everybody's in love with Pat Mahomes, but Pat Mahomes can have a bad year this year. And what are we gonna do? Put him in 97 next year? After he was like number top 5?
I honestly think we should segue now into the division rankings because and because this is Tim on his best behavior, and we all ought to give this man a round of applause because I am completely shocked.
I actually do want to see what Mahomes is ranked this year. If he's in the top 5,
I think Mahomes.
I'm in peas. Listen, I behave. I'm in peas. Listen, I'm just keeping it real. Pat Mahomes, he gained too much love
between Mahomes and
he's getting too much love. He's
Well,
getting too. Listen, NFL Network.
Aaron Donald's probably going to be 1. I don't see how he.
Listen, I'm going to say this. NFL Network is so inconsistent in how they view these players. So inconsistent, and I wish they're very inconsistent. I don't even think I think some of these guys come into work and they just name players. They don't really do their assignment. They don't really do their homework.
We do more research than the fucking NFL analysts do.
We do. I mean,
fucking Stephen A. Smith has like a ghostwriter, and he thought Hunter Henry played last season.
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it real. I could look damn sexy with a tie, with a bow tie and a tight shirt, and just say,
"You can take over for Damian Woody, dude." I'd fucking.
Why not?
My vote.
I'm more sexy than Damian Woody. I'm way more sexy than Damian Woody. I'm more sexy than him. I got a beard, Dan. A beard.
AFC North.
Are you kidding me? I'm more sexy than that man, than anybody ESPN. Hey, listen. I got a 4 hairline. I ain't like Stephen A. Smith losing my hair. You trying to save it?
Oh, that was good.
I love Stephen A. Smith, though. I love it. I love him, though.
He's pretty entertaining. There isn't much left on that mothership, but he's.
I don't want him calling me out, nothing like that. I'm sorry, Stephen. I'm sorry. I love you.
I know it's all planned rants that he has, but they're still kind of funny once in a while.
Yeah.
Folks, let's talk the AFC North. Let's actually, after our first hour, let's get into what the hell we came to talk about. I'm going to make this quick. I'm not even going to go in depth like I did much last week. I'm going to give you all 4 schedules planted right there. I got my guys from left to right, the division winner to the bottom of the North. So let's do this. Here we go. Oh, what is this, Shim? Who the fuck is that on the left, Shim? The fucking Browns? Woo! BWO! Sorry, listen, guys. Don't jump down my throat. Let me explain myself real quick, okay? The AFC North, I've been preaching for the past few months, is going to be a division of all 1-win separations. Now, the Browns, when you take a look at their roster, I'm sorry, I do have some concern in Freddie Kitchens. I feel like he is the recipe of disaster to potentially fuck this up. But if he can get all gears going, when you look at this Cleveland Browns, don't even worry about the offense. We all know what they have on the offensive side, but Myles Garrett, Larry Ogunjobi, Sheldon Richardson came over. Some people forget that. And Olivier Vernon, not much of a sack guy, but he's always creating pressure, and that'll sweep the dudes right over to Sheldon or Myles Garrett. The linebackers aren't terrible. Joe Schobert, Christian Kirksey. But when you get back to the secondary, that's a young, good secondary. Outside of Terrence Mitchell, who's a little on the older side, you got Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams just drafted LSU, arguably the best corner out of the draft. If they can get this shit going over there on the defensive side, I think you're looking at a 10-6 Browns team. On paper, they're very, very good. And then the Steelers, what concerns me with them, Brian, is the AB loss is huge. And when you're looking at your overall roster now, I was never huge on Eli Rogers, and now he's going to have one of those starting roles. I love Juju, but then Dante Moncrief. I've always been big on Moncrief ever since he was with the Colts, and then he went to the Jags. But he hasn't been producing for me. I've been big on him in the fantasy aspect, and he just kind of just lackluster, mediocre. I don't know what to expect out of him. He kind of scares me. I love your offensive line. Always loved it for years. You're going to have great protection for Big Ben, and James Conner showed he can handle the bulk of the load. And I do like the defense, but most of them are young guns. I mean, outside of Cameron Hayward and Vince Williams, most of the guys on that defense were drafted within the past 1 to 3 years. So we'll see how that comes together. But I do like a lot of the names on the defense. I just think it's going to be hard to maintain that ranking of in the AFC North. I don't think it stays the same. I think it's the NFL. There's parity. You're going to see some juggling around. With the Bengals, I don't really love the Bengals this year. I think they have some ups, have some downs. I think they start off terrible in the beginning of the season, but they go on a bit of a win streak like the Bengals always seem to fucking do, but not that it really matters because it doesn't equate to much at the end of the season. They scare me because of their offensive line. Let me tell you about that. John Jerry and fucking Bobby Hart from the New York Giants are starting on that shit. God bless you, Joe Mixon. I hope you can find some holes. Billy Price drafted very high out of OSU, but he only played 10 games, so I still don't know what we're going to get out of that guy. John Miller at right guard, that kind of scares me. And then can anybody honestly name me the receivers on the Bengals outside of John Ross, Tyler Boyd, and A.J. Green?
Well, you named 3 of them. Come on. It's like half the group.
That's like half the group, right?
I mean... But, those receivers never stay healthy. Does John Ross play a full season? Does A.J. Green play a full season? So let's talk about Tyler Boyd being your number one. Who are we looking at after, folks? Cody Core, Josh Malone, Alex Erickson. God bless Bengals. And then the Ravens, they had a lot of defensive shifts around of big personnel. That's what scares me with the Ravens. I think they get some, you could see I got some wins against some big teams, but overall, I don't think they come to perform well this year. I think it's going to be more of like if they're really going to go run heavy, it's going to be a big transition and they have to focus on defense. I believe next year heavy in the draft, if this is the style of offense they want to continue with Lamar Jackson. But that's my bulk right there, boys. AFC North, Browns winning it. 9-7 Steelers, 8-8 Bengals, 7-9 Ravens.
Well, should I get mine out the way so I get the backlash of it right now?
Yeah,
please.
To get them out the way?
Please.
All right, cool.
Please.
I'm gonna spit this water real quick.
Oh shit.
It's cool. Nice.
Here we go. Here comes the show.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Going 16-0.
Now the story right here. When we look at the AFC North, what is the story? All right, we have the Steelers. There's no Le'Veon Bell. We have
Tim, we only got an hour.
But you stopping me. You interrupted me. Why are you interrupting me for? You don't interrupt me.
You said the word story. I'm like, oh.
I mean, listen, Brian. I'm not singing. I'm not. Brian.
Tim's over here like in the beginning. God created the AFC North.
I love how Fogg sat back. Like that was perfect.
But listen. I know you're a Steelers fan. I was my moment.
I'm sorry.
All right. It's all right.
The never-ending story.
Okay. All right. Love it. All right. The story of the AFC North. We have the Steelers. There's no Le'Veon Bell. We have no Antonio Brown. Okay. Can the young guys step up in their absence? Can James Conner step up for Le'Veon Bell? They're pretty good last season. Can Juju Schuster show the world that he could be the wide receiver he was last year without Antonio Brown? But also James Washington got to step up in that spot. The Bengals. Are the Bengals rebuilding? We don't know. We do know the Rams offensive coordinator now is the head coach. Is Dalton going to be the guy this year? Are they going to just try to win the division? Or they're going to try to rebuild? We don't know. Now, the Cleveland Browns, obviously we know they stacked it up to win it. They're tired of being the laughing stock of the NFL. They're tired of being the laughing stock of the AFC North. They're trying to make all types of changes, regardless who's on that team. They added the most talent. So now here we go, real fast, gentlemen. My number one team in the AFC North is the Cleveland Browns at 13-3. I believe the first 6 games of the season, they have the right, they have a chance to go 5-1 or 6-0. Real quick, y'all. You got the Titans. There's no Taylor Lewan. At the Jets, versus the Rams, at Ravens, 49ers, Seahawks in a bye on week 7. Now, when they come back after the bye week, the key game is the Patriot game. That's going to be the key game. That's going to be the key game of the new strength of the team in the AFC versus the team that's always been the Patriots. In my opinion, I believe the first 6 games in the schedule, the Browns can be that team. Either 5-1 or 6-0 before they go to that bye week. They're playing teams, they're playing a favorable schedule at home. A lot of home games, and on the away games, teams with question marks. Now, my number 2 team in the AFC North is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. Even though with Lamar Jackson, I'm sorry, that's a question mark I forgot to add earlier in my story. Do they trust Lamar Jackson? Is he the guy? I mean, who's the reliable pieces he can throw that rock to? We don't know. These are rookies, young guys. Now they do have a running game, but can you run all day long? You got to throw that ball. You have to throw that football. Defensively, I think they're the best defense in the AFC North. I really do. But a defense cannot hold you down so long. Offense has to score points. I don't think Baltimore's offense can score a lot of points like that. So, and on top of that, I'm tired of seeing the black athletes at quarterback being used to be an athlete. Lamar Jackson needs to be a quarterback. He really needs to be trained as a quarterback. I don't know if he's ready yet. So I got them going 9-7. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Brian, I love you, Brian. And I know we're going to hang out when it's the Steelers versus the Jets and Monday Night Football when you, Corey, come down. We're going to hang. And I'm going to buy you a drink because I know you're going to be kind of shocked that day. You're going to be pissed. But I'm going to hold you up, Brian. I'm going to push it myself. You know, Brian, I'm here for you. Because at the end of the day, and I'm going to tell everybody this, I just think Big Ben time is up. I don't think, see, losing AB and losing Le'Veon Bell, everybody has been saying, even if you go on Twitter, if you go on the 4QQ page, AB, Le'Veon Bell carry Big Ben. That's what everybody's been saying. Nobody has been saying that Big Ben has been carrying the team. So if you believe that Big Ben has been carried, what makes you think that Juju Schuster, a second-year player, and James Conner can carry Big Ben? That's the problem. And again, Big Ben didn't have that many great years. Listen, we can go back to the 2 years ago. Age was showing. Now he doesn't have the same type of talent in Le'Veon Bell and AB on this roster. So he's going to have to do a little bit more than what he has normally did. Now, as far as the defense, I don't know if it got that much better. I really don't. I know they drafted a kid out of Michigan who I think in the long run, listening to Fogman, Della, and Josh, Brian, he's going to be a force in Bush. Other than that, what about the secondary? That's been a problem for a couple of years ago. I don't think they addressed that right away. That you can really say the Steelers secondary is on par. So on top of that, I think Big Ben is going to have to do a lot. And for his age and his time, I think it's done. But going further in the future, I still think the Steelers will have kind of the best roster with a lot of young players. Watch out for Mason Rudolph. I'm a fan of him. Now with the Bengals, Zach Taylor's the head coach. I don't know what they're doing. I think maybe they're going to see if they can contend in the AFC North, and then if they don't, they're going to start to rebuild. I think A.J. Green may be getting traded this offseason. I wouldn't be surprised. They just paid Tyler Boyd. They're committed to Tyler Boyd. That's one of their guys. I think A.J. Green, they're going to maybe ship out. If it doesn't work, they're going to say, listen, we respect you as a player, and we're going to ship you out to a team of your desire. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. So 13-3 for the Cleveland Browns, 9-7 for the Baltimore Ravens, 8-8 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and 7-9 for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Tim, 13-3. Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yeah. BWO. Who's stepping up to the plate next, gents? I like it, Tim. I like it.
Actually, after hearing that shit, I'm going next. Okay, look. So I know I missed a few divisions. What divisions did I miss the last two times?
You only missed one, just the East.
Just the AFC East?
Yeah. Yeah, we were on I was on vacation last week, so we had a break. Summer break.
Okay, all right. Yeah, if you don't mind, really quickly, the East. Look, the Patriots are winning it. The other three teams, who gives a shit? All right. Getting back, yeah. The Bills are trash. So let's get to this AFC North. My last place team is the Baltimore Ravens. They lost a lot on defense. I don't necessarily think the pieces they brought in are going to compensate for your Donta Hightower, your Terrell Suggs, your Zadarius Smith. They also lost a lot at that pass rushing spot. I mean, they got some guys they drafted. They're bringing them up, and like Matt Judon, like Chris Wormley, but the defense won't be the same. I love their stable of running backs. They got 4 running backs that are going to get used, right? I do not love their receiving group. I know they added Hollywood Brown as a slot receiver. On the outside, it's not good. I think Lamar Jackson regresses a little as they try to work him in as more of a passer. If you want a hot take, I think this is John Harbaugh's last season in Baltimore. I have the Baltimore Ravens last place at 5-11. All right, my third place team, the Cleveland Browns. Look, I'm not sold. I'm really not. And I know that this team is very, very talented. However, they're very top heavy. They don't have a lot of depth. They're not a deep team. Let's look at the defense. Their starting 11 are wonderful. Let's not get it twisted. Look, very formidable. But outside of that, it's a bunch of guys. It's a bunch of guys you just shrug your shoulder at, like nothing to be scared of. On offense, I think Baker Mayfield is going to be every bit as good. They added Odell Beckham Jr. They're going to get Kareem Hunt after week 8. They got Nick Chubb. The names are there. It's just the names they have are also young. They haven't won anything yet. And I don't know about Freddie Kitchens. I have the Cleveland Browns third place at 7-9. I just don't think this is their year yet. 2021 or 2021, I think once they, get some continuity, they're there. This is going to shock a lot of people. My number 2 team is the Cincinnati Bengals. I like Zach Taylor. I'm actually a believer in Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton and Alex Smith have the same profile. They just need the right coach. I think Zach Taylor is going to squeeze the most out of Andy Dalton in a contract year and get Tyler Boyd and A.J. Green going. I like them also. They have a nice group of running backs. Watch out, Rodney Anderson. They took in the 6th round. He fell a lot because he had tore his ACL at Oklahoma. I think he's going to get a lot of work in with Joe Mixon and Giovanni Bernard as well. I like their defense. Unlike the Browns, they're not as top heavy, but they have a little more depth to them. I really love their secondary. I got them going second at 9-7. Your division winner, Pittsburgh Steelers, I have them at 9-7. I think they take a step back. I think Cincinnati and Cleveland are going to be on their heels all season, but I just like the experience of Ben Roethlisberger. Look, how many times has this team over the last 15 years churned out running backs, receivers, right? When Fast Willie Parker was over, we'll get Le'Veon Bell. Okay, so James Conner, Benny Snell, they're up next. Okay, we'll talk about receivers. Well, Hines Ward, he's gone. All right, we'll try Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace leaves. All right, Antonio Brown's in the pipeline. Emmanuel Sanders. Names goes on and on. So I like Juju Smith as a number 1 option. I think they have a bevy of number 2 and number 3s that will help them out. And that defense, that's going to be their calling card, that defense. Devin Bush is a plug-and-play linebacker that's going to fly sideline to sideline. You got TJ Watt as your pass rusher. I love their front 3 and that 3-4. I'm at 9-7 winning the division. I have the Cincinnati Bengals as a wild card at 9-7.
Great score.
Steve, you want to go first? You want to go? Or you want me to go?
Oh my God! Well, I might as well go because Dola just hey, he stole my thunder.
And the Lightning.
Yeah, all of it. I'm the Baltimore Ravens for me. I have them at between finishing 5-11 and 6-10. Look, Greg Roman developed a great scheme for Lamar Jackson, but you're bringing in Miles Boykin at the wide receiver position. You got Justice Hill at the running back position. This is a very young team and a young core player. You got Marquise Brown, but there's going to be a lot of growing and a lot of developing with the Baltimore Ravens. And then the losses on defense, Suggs, Darius Smith. Do we believe guys like Tim Williams and Tyus Bauer are really going to make a difference on this team? So I'm sorry. I'm with Dull on this all day. The Ravens in last place. Third place for me, the Cleveland Browns. And again, with the Browns, their offensive line struggled last season. Yeah, I think people forget. People think that because of the sexy positions that the teams have, that you've got Odell, you've got Nick Chubb, you've got Baker Mayfield, you got Jarvis Landry, you got Njoku. Everything's going to be great, but from a run blocking aspect, you were 18th in the NFL. 18th in the NFL. You were 16th in pass blocking. And you actually lost on your offensive line this year. How is that going to make you a better team? In all honesty. So when you look at the Cleveland Browns, their defense is going to be good, but again, this is a young core defensively. They're going to get better, but again, this was a defense that was a bottom third defense last year because they struggled. This is a young team, and Freddie Kitchens, the X factor. How is this team going to develop under a first-time head coach, and not just a first-time head coach? I mean, what did he come from? He was a offensive line coach or something like that, the quarterback coach. So,
but Doug Peterson was the offensive coordinator.
Well, here's the thing about that. Freddie Kitchens only had 8 games of calling plays, so
yeah,
he's inexperienced.
Doug Peterson was calling plays.
No, he was not. No. He was not.
Time.
No. He's like,
number one. How dare you?
I'm sorry.
Let him finish.
So I understand Tim and BWO, but yeah, I'm sorry. They're going to be third, and then the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, my same concerns with the offensive line for Cleveland are my concerns with the Cincinnati Bengals. And Josh alluded to former Giants players on that offensive line starting now. And this was a run blocking offense that was 22nd, according to Football Outsiders. They're still going to struggle, but they're going to be competitive. Losing Jonah Williams was probably the biggest issue for this team. But people forget that this team last season, they made more improvements than they did as far as losing players from last season to this season. And prior to AJ Green suffering his toe injury, this team was 5-3. They were on their way to win 8 to 9 games. So it's not that far-fetched to see this team next season this season potentially win 8 to 9 games. So again, I'm with Dill on this one. I could see the Cincinnati Bengals finishing second, and the Steelers, like I told you, those stole my thunder. The Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, the one thing that they do is they find the next man up in every single damn position. They find the next man up. And this is a team that has got the next man up. I don't think this is going to be a division that is won with an 11-5 or 12-4 sexy win-loss ratio. 9-7, 10-6 will win this division, and I believe the Pittsburgh Steelers will win it through coaching experience and leadership experience on both the defensive side and the offensive side of the ball, in particular with Ben Roethlisberger being there, not necessarily as a leader, but being there as a senior player, along with some of those guys on the offensive line.
Okay. So it looks like I'm all alone here, which I kind of expected. Let me just start. I kind of expected that.
I'm on an island.
Let me start with my last place team. I think we all kind of almost had a consensus. I think a little surprised where Dula and Fogg put the Bengals, but I agree with you guys. I agree that the Bengals actually are not as bad as people perceive. I mean, I've seen a lot of predictions where they're going to be 3-13 or 4-12. I don't see them being that bad. I agree with Dula. I like Zach Taylor. I like him. He's a former quarterback out of Nebraska. He's got a lot of experience. Obviously, helped develop Jared Goff over there in Los Angeles with Sean McVay. I think he's going to do great things with Andy Dalton. And I agree with Dula. I think he is on the same level and same path as a guy like Alex Smith. He needs to be coached, and I don't think. And it's sad. Because I don't think Andy Dalton's ever been properly coached at the quarterback position. Obviously not with Marvin Lewis. So let's see what Zach Taylor can get the most out of, I believe, 31-year-old Andy Dalton. So, and then they have a stable of running backs as well. Joe Mixon, Giovanni Bernard, Rodney Anderson, who did tear his ACL a couple of years ago. I loved him coming out of Oklahoma. He probably would have been a higher pick had he had not went down early last year. So. The wide receiving core, like Josh alluded to, is kind of thin. I mean, John Ross hasn't played a full season. AJ Green is readily hurt. Tyler Boyd just signed a big contract. So offensively, the Bengals are okay. Their offensive line just kind of took a hit out of nowhere. I mean, losing Jonah Williams and then losing Clinton Boyling to retirement. So it's going to be hard to find some holes, but they have a lot of versatile backs. So I can believe Joe Mixon and Giovanni Bernard are going to use the passing game a lot. Defensively, this team is still, I believe, one of the like grittiest defensive teams in the NFL. I think this team does not give up a lot of points. They're very, very hard to play against. Very tough football team. I like the Bengals, but they are going to finish in last place. I think they are kind of in the middle of a rebuilding mode / kind of reloading. I think Zach Taylor is going to get the most out of Andy Dalton and AJ Green. I think you're going to see a statistical explosion from those guys. I think you're going to see that, but I don't think it's going to translate to the win column. So I think the Bengals go 5-11, but it's going to be a very, very tough and gritty 5-11. I don't think they're going to look like a bad football team. I think they're going to be -1 from last year. I believe they went 6-10 last year. My third place team I have are the Cleveland Browns, and it's pretty much for some of the same reasons that Fogg may hit on the head when he said that either Fogman or Dula. When one of you guys said that the offensive line is still very shaky. I understand this. I understand and I'm just being as objective as possible here. The Browns probably had the best offseason we've seen in years. They made some incredible moves. They had a great draft. They've had the last couple of drafts have been pretty, pretty great, but the offensive line is still very, very shaky. And as Josh alluded to when he began this, Freddie Kitchens is actually the X factor. It's not really Baker Mayfield. It's Freddie Kitchens and how he's going to handle this type of team and pressure and expectation. Let's face it, the Cleveland Browns are expected to not win the Super Bowl, but at least get there. That's just the reality. We all talked about public perception. That is the public perception we have right now for the Cleveland Browns. And I took the look. I pulled up their schedule, and I wanted to see how many primetime games the Browns had. And they have 3 primetime games between week 1 and week 7, their bye week. 3. And I don't remember the last time the Browns were on primetime minus Thursday Night Football, because everyone played Thursday Night Football, so everyone gets primetime games now, but I don't think that counts. But 3 primetime games between September 8th and their bye week. The lights are going to be shining on the Cleveland Browns. And I'm not really sure this team is ready mentally ready for this type of pressure and expectation that is literally hovering over them. That has been since they made that trade, for Odell Beckham. And you can even go as far as back as when they went on that little winning streak and became within the game away from making the playoffs last year with Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield has a lot of checks that he needs to write. That I hope he can cash, because he's been talking and doing a lot of talking this offseason. So he better be ready to write those checks if he can. But I have the Browns. They're a loaded team. But for me, it's about the expectation. I'm just not sure Freddie Kitchens is that guy that's going to be ready to live to that. I have them going 7-9.
I'm not sure where this disillusion of the Browns not having a good O-line is coming from. Joel Bitonio, J.C. Treader, and Zeitler combined only gave up 39 total pressures on the season. And I know some of you like to go by PFF. This is just the 2018 rankings right here.
Yeah,
they're number fucking 2.
I can't wait to go. I can't.
But wait a second.
Fucking energy.
Wait a minute.
That's all I know.
My energy's all.
No, because wait a second though. F that.
Guy with O-line. Well, that's just me though.
I'm gonna stay quiet.
Josh, do me a favor. Who do they have at tackle? Who do they have at left tackle?
Greg Robinson.
Enough said.
Hey, it's not the Greg Robinson from Auburn. Or no, Baylor. I'm sorry. I meant the Baylor one.
Yeah, you mean Baylor.
I'm just saying he still is terrible. So
he's still pretty damn bad. I mean, I'm just but
no, Brian, continue, Brian. Continue, Brian.
If the Browns, what I'm saying is, and I think what
Zeitler's not there anymore, right?
What Fogg? No, he's not. What Fogg and
because they have Corbett, he was just drafted in the second round last year, so they could afford to get rid of Zeitler.
Yeah, sure.
They said that last year. No, I'm gonna open a can of fucking worms on all of y'all.
I'm ready.
Brian, I'm gonna give Brian respect. Because some of y'all just forget shit. I'm gonna say that. Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry, Brian.
What I was trying to allude to was that if there is a weak spot right now for the Browns, it's their depth. Like Dula said, and the offensive line. I wrote that down. That is probably where their weakest skill positions. They're talented all over. But we all know that offensive line is not where it needs to be. Then you're not going to win as many games as you think you're going to win. So Browns 7-9. For me, it's not more so the roster. Like I said, it's more so of living up to that expectation. And I'm not sure Baker Mayfield and Freddie Kitchens, especially, are ready for that type of spotlight. That's just me. That's why I have them losing some games, going 7-9. My second place team is my team. It's Pittsburgh Steelers. As I understand, every single one of you guys said, look, we probably have, you can quote me on this, we probably, at this moment, probably have the best O-line in football. And they're going to protect Big Ben. And it's going to help that running game. It's going to help Connor. It's going to help Benny Snell, who I think is going to emerge as probably the guy we go to later down the line when we need to start running the football more. And Benny Snell's that big pound and ground running back that we haven't had really in a long time, probably since Mendenhall. Probably maybe since Jerome Bettis. Benny Snell's that guy we want to get to. I don't want Big Ben to throw the ball 600 times this year. I really do hope our O-line. I really do hope our O-line steps up and helps him out, and we run the football more. The bottom line is with my team is we lost 2 megastar head cases. Well, and I think Antonio Brown's more of a head case than LB, but we lost 2 mega talents. And I understand what Fogman is saying, that we do replace guys. We do a great job with depth and having that next man up mentality. We have had that in our organization for years. I just don't know if we can replace that type of talent within a year. Maybe in another year when we get some continuity, when James Conner has another notch in his belt, when Juju Smith-Schuster has another notch as the number 1 receiver under his belt, then I feel like we can make that move. Defensively, like Josh said, I understand we're young, but we're young and talented. We're probably one of the most young and talented defensive teams in the NFL. So I actually, why did I get energy check for?
Sorry, I was editing the other screen.
I was like, what did I say? I said, holy shit. Okay, but I think that our defensively, I think our defense is probably going to be one of the I think the defense is going to be the part of the side of the ball that's going to really carry us this year. Because I think we lost a lot of offensive talent. I'm not sure about Juju as a number one yet. I have to see how he does when he is bracketed, because that's what they're going to do when your number one receiver usually bracketed defensively. So I want to see how he gets out of that. I think he's football savvy, though. He's very football savvy. I think he will find ways to get open. I just hope James Washington and Eli Rogers and Dante Moncrief can really kind of open up, open up the other side of the football, open up the other side of the field to help Juju out a little bit. So we still have Big Ben. I still believe in him, but I think this is one of those. I think this is going to be one of those 8 and 8 years, maybe 9 and 7 years for us this year, because I think we just lost too much talent to really overcome within a year. 2 years from now, when we have more continuity, ask me again. But a year from losing A, B, and LB in the same year, that's tough. That's gonna be tough to overcome. I don't see us overcoming that. And then my first place team, I knew I was gonna be an island here. My first place team, which was Fog, Meg, and Dula's last place team, is gonna be the Baltimore Ravens. And for these reasons why, pretty much what Tim said. Look, let's just cut to the chase here. This is all about Lamar Jackson. Okay, this team is pretty much it is tailored around this young man's talent. And Tim, there's one thing that you said that I don't agree with, that I think the Baltimore Ravens are doing beautifully at doing right now. They are tailoring this offense exactly to what Lamar Jackson can do to succeed. Greg Roman, right? Greg Roman is a former OC of the 49ers, right? Who he coached, Colin Kaepernick, where he took his team to the Super Bowl, right? I definitely understand the Ravens lost a lot on defense, and that actually helped propel them to where they were with, of course, Lamar Jackson, of course, them changing the whole offense in the team in the league really kind of caught them off guard. But what I do believe is that I think Lamar Jackson does take a step forward. I think Greg Roman is going to do his best to get the most out of Lamar Jackson's explosive ability as a passer and a runner. I think that the way that they have really catered to Lamar Jackson to help him succeed in this league, which they have to do, it's kind of what the Arizona Cardinals are doing with Kyler Murray. There's a reason why they went out and got Cliff Kingsbury, is to cater the whole offense to Kyler Murray. That's exactly what the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson. He obviously is going to have to improve his passing, which I am pretty confident he will, because he did it in college. He did not regress in college. He actually got better as the years went on. And I think he can do that in the NFL as long two things have to happen with Lamar Jackson. Right? As long as he stays upright, because obviously I was going to be concerned with his style of play. I want to see him run out of bounds more. And as long as he understands that he can't do it all by himself, and he has to be able to take what the defense gives him. I agree with somebody, I forgot who said it. I agree that I'm not a big fan of his wide receiving core. I wasn't a big fan of the Marquise Brown drafting Marquise Brown of Oklahoma. I understand that they wanted some speed out there. I understand that Lamar has a big arm and they want to kind of, utilize that over the top ability. But I'm not a huge fan of that. I do love the stable of running backs that they have picked up. That's going to be a huge, huge benefit for Lamar Jackson in that offense. So I really believe, and look, bottom line is this, and Lamar showed it last year. He's a winner. The guy is a winner. Say what you want about his passing ability. Say what you want about his style of play. Say what you want about the offense. The guy he won football games last year. I understand the defense had a big part, but Lamar was playing quarterback and he won pretty big games last year. So I think the Ravens are going to kind of surprise some people. And I think Lamar takes a step up, and I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the division. I think it's really going to come down to the wire with these two teams, the Ravens and Steelers.
First things first. Hey, no. Before I start, I'm calling energy check on you, Josh, because you posted that graphic from Pro Football Focus saying how the Browns ended like how they ended last season, right? I'm happy you posted that, Josh, because I'm looking at an article from PFF right now talking about NFL offensive line rankings entering 2019. You know what the Cleveland
that's a
Browns
prediction, Dula. I got the actual 2018 rankings.
But this is on the same site. That's funny. They're predicting the Browns to be number 20 out
Go
of
ahead.
32.
Why don't you click the
Keep
little
that
chat
same
box
energy,
in your
brother.
Google Hangout,
Energy
J-Lo?
check it.
Why don't you click the
Keep it.
little hyperlink that I just linked? 2018 NFL offensive line rankings, all 32 teams after week 17. Wow, so you mean it's an actual true rankings based on what they ended from last year, not a hypothesis of this
Well,
year?
crazy enough, well then, Josh, it's the same source. So the same source is now turning around saying, yeah, they finished second, but they lose Kevin Zyder, now they're 20th. Come on, bro.
Exactly. So how much stock are you really going to put into that? I still think they're a top
What do
offensive line
you
unit.
mean?
Here's the
Wait,
thing,
wait.
and this is why.
No.
Before Tim, before you go ahead and blast off on this is why I'm looking at this is why I use Football Outsiders. So according to the adjusted line yards, which is something based on their down distance situation, the opponent that they were playing, the difference of rushing average between shotgun compared to standard formations. Listen, I pulled the numbers out, Timmy. They ranked 18th in run blocking. It's just that simple. They ranked 18th in run blocking. When you look at their what occurred now from a team aspect and the losses, listen. I've been a fan of J.C. Treader at the center position. I think the guy's a very underrated center, and they've got him there. That's fantastic. They lose Zittler. And that's going to hurt them. Not for nothing, Corbett's got some really big shoes to fill.
Real big shoes.
But when you look at now the tackle position, forget the tackle position from a Robinson aspect. They've got Hubbard on the other side.
You didn't care when it was Bobby Hart and the fucking Bengals, though. Someone else hit the lightning button. I'm tired of this shit.
No, Sim.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Because remember, Josh, I turned around and I said, and we can rewind this. I said I have the same concerns with the Browns, with the Bengals that I do the Browns, and I
He did say that.
But you put the Bengals ahead. And the Browns on paper are so much better than the Bengals currently. You could argue the D-line maybe for the Bengals might be a little bit better.
May I go, please? Because I'm gonna keep it real. Y'all full of shit. I love you guys, but y'all full of shit. Really full of shit. All of y'all.
This is coming from the Cowboy fan.
No, listen.
Explain to me why I'm full of shit.
When the NFC East come up, then we talk about the Cowboys. Right now it's AFC North. Stay on subject, buddy.
Okay, so come on, Slack.
All right.
Stay on the subject.
Now here's the deal. First of all, Brian, I love you. We know why you picked the Steelers number 2 because that's your team. You don't want to seem like a homer.
No,
and guess what?
It's not
no,
true.
Stop it. Stop it. Don't say nothing. No, stop. Pause. Time out. Wait a minute.
Okay.
We all know you are a Lamar Jackson fan. We know that. No. Here's the deal. You cannot come. Hold. Time out. When you guys criticize me, I stay shut and listen. It's my turn now. Now, first of all, Brian, you're gonna come out and say, I don't like the receiving corps.
Of who?
Yeah, no. I don't. You just said I don't like the receiving corps as much. I don't agree with Marquise Brown with the first round pick.
I didn't.
Wait, hold up a second. I don't like. They are right now trying. With Lamar Jackson. Greg Roman worked with Colin Kaepernick. Now, no disrespect to anybody watching. Colin Kaepernick was not a good quarterback. I don't give a fuck if y'all want to email me and bash me. He was not a good quarterback. Stop it. The defense carried. Oh, pause. Greg Roman, if you look at his fucking history, since we all like to look at the passing history and stats and numbers, look at Greg Roman's history with quarterbacks. Fucking garbage. Starting with the Buffalo Bills. Anything check on that shit. Number 2. Steven Fogman. 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 How are you going to come out and say Kitchen is the offensive coordinator? What is he going to do? Well, Fogman, newsflash. Look at the past fucking 3 years. 2 offensive coordinators in the Super Bowl the past 3 years. Buddy, do you understand that? So what? So my thing is this: you're gonna shit on Freddie Kitchen, but give praise to Zach Taylor, offensive coordinator. Give praise to. I mean, I didn't get that shit. It was more a preference. You don't want to see the Browns succeed. That's fine. I respect that. But call me regular. And on top of that, what the Della, I love you, brother. When the fuck do we care about prediction? If I say the Cowboys are ranked number 1 predicting, you're gonna bash me. So now it's okay to say because the Browns are going last. It's all good. Energy check. Energy check, Josh.
Tim, you're so full of shit right now. It's coming out your mouth. I can smell it.
Pause him. No, pause him. Pause him. See, here's the thing. First of all, like I said again, we all talk about what I predict, and it's a problem. But meanwhile, you're not catching what y'all say. See, I'm a good listener. Brian, again, Greg Roman, you're the first one to talk about coaches, about what Kaepernick had. This is the same guy that Kaepernick had over there. You was disrespecting that man. Now because he's with Lamar Jackson, you think he's going to succeed? I'll be kidding me? Fuck me. 2 of the past 3 years, two OCs have been in the championship. 2 OCs has been in the championship the past 3 years. And Doug Peterson, who I went on Twitter and said, I've never even called the offensive play with Andy Reid. And guess what? I will post that. I will share that with you to back up my words. He came out and said, I've never ever called a call. So when he went to the Philadelphia his first year, he admitted, I've never called an offense.
Which means Frank Wright did the job for him.
Wait a minute.
No, I'm asking you.
Listen, but you came out and said, no OCs can do anything. He did made it to the championship. Also, the Rams coach made it to the championship the past 3. So 2 OCs made it. But my thing is this. You're going to say, well,
did Sean McVay call plays? Did Sean McVay call plays? No, keep that same energy. You're going to talk that shit. You better be able to receive that shit. Did Sean McVay call plays?
Did he not? Tell me.
Did he call plays?
Tell me. You tell me. I don't know.
No.
Hold
on a second, Slack Prescott.
Pause it.
We gotta have this conversation.
Pause it. See, here's the thing. Fuck, you said at your own mouth, I would not pick the Browns because OCs. What the OCs are gonna do with being a head coach? It's supposed to be responsibility. But meanwhile,
he's a question mark.
But here's the thing. So why is Zach Taylor not a question mark?
He actually called him an offensive line coach. He was never no line coach.
Keep it real.
Where's the respect?
Come on.
There's
keep it real.
No respect for the guy that was in the kitchen.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Come on, man.
Hold on, Tim. Tim,
Tim, you're full of it. Wait a second. How long was Sean McVay in OC? How long was he? Sean McVay had 2 years of being an OC. Doug Peterson had 2 years of being an OC.
Okay.
Freddie Kitchens had 8 fucking games as an OC. Stop it.
Oh, so 2 years out of 8 months count. But meanwhile, hold up. So 8 years.
I didn't say 8 months. I said 8 games. That's 2 months.
Okay, here's the thing. Can an OC go far? Can an OC take over? Can an OC take it? He got all the talent. They Sean McVay and Peterson had the talent that Kitchen has right now. Let's keep it to be honest.
Tim, are you telling me it's not fair to question the experience of Freddie Kitchens? Is that what you're alluding to?
No. It's not fair to it's not fair to shame him. Meanwhile, you got no. Brian, you asked me a question. It's not fair. No.
Tim, you're being an extremist. We don't shame him.
I didn't fully answer it. What I'm saying is this: it's not fair to shame him what he can do this season with this talented team because he's an OC. Meanwhile, you got the other 2 guys, Peterson and McVay, who have less talent than what he has. Are you telling me that McVay and Peterson had more talent than Kitchens?
Hey Tim,
be honest.
No. Let's stop this right here. Hey Tim, what was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers record last season?
That's like
Don't recall. Injuries
4 or 5
happen there and
wins.
again.
Get the fuck out of here with the injuries.
It was 4-12.
Injuries happen. 4-12. I mean, here's the thing, Fogman. I know you love numbers, but I like to explain the numbers. I'm not gonna say numbers.
I'm going to explain the numbers for you, my friend.
4-12, 5-11. Who cares? What is it?
So who was their offensive coordinator?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Oh,
Well,
no.
you should know because he's the fucking Browns offensive coordinator this
Oh,
year.
I'm sorry, Kitchens. Wow. Okay, so
No,
so it was,
not
so wait.
Kitchens is the head coach. Allow me to
the head
educate
coach.
you on this.
All
You've
right,
got
no,
head coach, offensive
right.
coordinator,
So what are you getting at?
defensive coordinator.
So what are you
So
getting
let
at?
me break because the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is now the offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, so hold on, stop right there. Pause right there. The offensive coordinator last year had a coach, Fitzpatrick and Winston. Winston coming in off a injury or whatever, suspension, whatever the fuck it was, and they come in and head coach both teams. You got Baker Mayfield. Are you telling me that he would have a hard problem with Baker Mayfield versus Winston and Fitzpatrick?
I mean, let's be honest. Would it be harder to do the playbook with the Bucs or with the Browns playbook on offense?
I mean, it's gonna be real. Who's more talented on the offensive side?
Especially when you got Fitzpatrick and fucking Winston in a carsel over there.
Wait, hold on.
And we're going to be instituting a playbook offensively with a new offensive coordinator.
No, but here's the thing. Let me educate you, Fogman. You're gonna come out and say,
I would love to hear you educate me. I've been waiting for 3 years for you to do that.
What? No. It's been done. Tonight I'm getting my degree. I'm going to graduate. I'm going to graduate right now. You ready for this? Check this out. First of all, you come out and say numbers. Numbers are beautiful, but we got to explain. You're going to come out and say the Browns walking in, projecting this, coming in this year's ranked number 19 because of a guy who went last year. Now, here's the thing. I read. So here's the thing. I read and look at everything. Now, come with the Browns. They already said they could trade Zyder because they already had a guy who's better than them, which they did. That's been the talk of the whole offseason with the Browns. The Browns was ranked number 19, or was ranked number 18. The Bengals was ranked number 24. The Baltimore Ravens was ranked number 9. See, here's the thing. I'm giving you ranking numbers without looking at a piece of paper. I'm looking right at you. So Baltimore Ravens was ranked number 9. They had the best offensive line in football. How are you going to come out and say, I don't like the Browns, but then I don't trust the Bengals, but give the Bengals a winning record? And on top of that, we all have seen when a new head coach comes in, newsflash, they make changes. They love to make.
I got a question for you. When did I give the Bengals a winning record? As a matter of fact, I was very consistent and very explicit with what I said when I said 9-7. No, timeout. 9-7 or 10-6 could win the division, and I put the Steelers at that precipice. So the audacity for you to say
who's number 2? Who's number 2?
I'm saying the Bengals. No. Don't interrupt me, my man. Don't interrupt me, my man.
That's my line.
I said the Bengals would finish number 2. The Bengals could be 8-8 or 7-9. It doesn't necessarily mean.
So you're confused.
No, you're confused. I'm not confused.
I gave 7-9. You're giving 9-7 or 8-8. My thing is this: I know for damn sure the Bengals will not be above the Browns. I know for damn sure because at the end of the day, Zach Taylor's not gonna. Do we all remember that Andy Dalton's a free agent after this season?
Yeah,
and that Zach Taylor
got a lot to show this season.
He got a lot to show. Him and
he's got. And it's funny.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
No. I'm not going to wait a minute. You're an advocate. You're an advocate. No, Tim.
I want to ask you a question.
You're an advocate for saying that players. You're an advocate. You're an advocate for saying that players who are in contract years are going to bust their ass to get that contract.
First of all,
you said that.
No.
Don't give me that.
No, you said it plenty of times, Tim. Don't do it. Energy check.
Time out.
Time out. All the time.
Time out. Let me say
it. Time, Tim.
There's no time.
Josh, forget a lightning bolt. Hit this man with a greyhound.
Time out. Let me intercept. First of all, yes, I've always said that. Last year they did want to blow out, but it's a difference. Ready for this?
What?
When it comes down to where
you want to prove your point.
No. Andy Dalton. Again, he could have a great year this year. He's 31 years old. Are we the Bengals ready? First of all, see, here's the thing. I listened to what you and Brian and Dulles said about Ryan Finley. You guys are saying he could be a sleeper at the NFL draft level. See, I listened.
I never said that.
Okay. Wait.
No, shit. Brian wasn't on board with me and Ryan Finley.
No.
Oh, so my bad. It was you, Stephen Fogman. You said that Ryan Finley could be a sleeper. So my thing is this: he drafted Ryan Finley with the 3rd round pick. We all know if a head coach drafts a quarterback, he wants to start over. That's the norm in the NFL. And again, this guy says, do you think the Bengals are going to give Andy Dalton a new contract at 30 years old? No, they're not. Do you think that they're going to give AJ a new contract? No, they're not. It's like I said, it's a wait and see where they at during the year. If they're losing, we trade. If they're winning, hey, just keep going.
Tim,
they're not
what is it with you in
Green.
trades? Like, I don't get it, man.
I mean, Della, I predicted the best, one of the trades in history in the National Football League, and OBJ. Where's my award? Where's my award for that?
Tim,
you're saying that shit for years off the fact that it's up to back. Come on, man.
No.
You don't get credit for that.
No. I came out and said why.
You gave no plausible reason for that outside of he plays for the Giants.
But
you gave no plausible reason for it.
Wait, Fogman. I get no reasons, Fogman.
But you said Odell was not going to get paid by the Giants. No, you were wrong on that. Weren't you wrong on that, Mr. Spooney? Shit. You were wrong on that. You lost a bet on that one. Anyways, you get back to your conversation, guys.
That wasn't me. That was not me. Yes. Hold up. Let me explain that. Hold on. Let me explain that first.
No,
of all,
we don't need a dissertation on why you look like Mary J. Blige with a beard. We don't need that.
Let's leave that alone.
No, I lost the bet. Yes, I did say that Odell won't get signed. And then Stevie Fogman came out and said, you know what? The signing still mean he could be traded. And I still went with that. I lost the bet. I honored it.
So, Tim, I got a question. Why are you disagreeing with me then? Just roll.
No. I'm disagreeing the fact that
ride this train, man. Ride this train.
I'm disagreeing with the fact how
energy check, Josh.
How you shamed the reasons why you shamed the Browns when
Tim,
you gave the other team props.
No, you did. It's going to be a very competitive division.
It's not. It's not.
It's not.
I have a question.
It's not. It's not going to be competitive.
No. According to you, the fucking Browns are going 13-3. Shit.
13-3.
Like Tim. I don't understand. Josh, you want to go real quick, or do you want to go? Oh, okay. As an educator, when I see a hand go up, I automatically stop. But like, I gotta like.
I love it.
So, Tim, I don't understand that what the big deal is about having questions about an inexperienced coach in his first year taking over the reins of a team with the expectations of the Cleveland Browns. Like, you have them going 13-3.
Can I answer that with Tim? Because I think we'll have a little bit of the same sentiment here. You guys are putting a lot of faith in this guy, and you're talking about experience. To the left over here, this big one starting out in 1999 is Freddie Kitchens. And you guys are putting more experience and more faith in Zach Taylor over here when they both had the quarterbacks coaching the same. Look at this. It's pretty much the last 5, 6, 7 years here. Zach Taylor and Freddie Kitchens pretty much held the same role.
Josh is going 5-11.
I'm actually. He's got the Bengals finishing 5-11. Josh, I'm looking at the Bengals and I'm looking at the talent on the team.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the coaching staff that Zach Taylor has there, the experienced coaching staff that Zach Taylor has there. And I'm saying that just based on that, this could be a 7-9 or 8-8 team. I'm not on the bandwagon or the train that there's going to be a wild card team coming from this division. Whoever wins the division is going to the playoffs, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. This is going to be a very competitive division. 6-10 and 10-6, first place to last place, is a very likely record spot for all 4 teams. You even said it yourself, Josh. You could see these teams finishing a win apart from each other. So it's not like I'm turning around and saying, oh, my God, the Bengals are going to fucking blow away the competition and the Browns are going to be completely and utter shit in the fashion that Tim is saying it, because when you turn around and pick a team ahead of Tim that Tim supports, oh, my God.
No.
Freezes.
You literally just did that, though, Tim. You did.
No. See, my argument. I didn't care if you picked.
You don't have an
Baltimore.
argument.
No.
Don't interrupt. No. Grown-ups are talking. Go sit at the kiddie table.
If you felt that the Browns will win the division, I'm cool with that.
Of course,
it's
you are.
No, it's the reasoning. You came out and said coordinator, no experience, but Zach Taylor got experience. He will have a better record than the Browns. You was not consistent with your argument. If you're gonna say that, no.
Wait a second. See, the reasons I gave had nothing to do with the coordinator.
No, Dullah, you different. No, Dullah, you different, Dullah. Dullah, you different. You different. I can't argue with what you said because
different when I agreed with everything Dullah said. As a matter of fact, I elaborated on the offensive lines. What are you talking about?
No. Dullah came out. Dullah flat out had his reason. He could say because the guy left the offensive line or there was something that may be a problem. That's fine.
But Tim, it wasn't even that. My main reason was they're not deep on defense.
No.
They're not.
But Dullah, that's cool. That's cool. That's fine. You can say that. But Fogman came out and said, and what Brian came out and said was because of the experience of the coaches, as if Zach Taylor got more experience than freaking Freddie Kitchens. Now, if you want now Dullah came out and said, was it Fogg that came out and said, well, guess what? Freddie had 8 fucking games. Well, how many games did Zach Taylor coach? 0. No games yet with the head coach.
Tim, I'm not
games more than 9.
Tim,
I don't know which one of you said that. One of y'all said that. So I don't know if it was
my explanation was, since you want to get everyone to, because I don't understand what you don't understand about experience does matter. And I get the whole conundrum with Zach Taylor not playing and not having coached any games and Freddie Kitchens having 8 games or whatever. Like, they're both inexperienced. The issue is with the Browns and Freddie Kitchens, as I've alluded to, is the expectation on the Cleveland Browns. And Freddie Kitchens, we're not really sure if he's going to be able to have a handle on personnel. Excuse me? What are you saying?
We saw Zach Taylor.
I'm not talking.
Can I bring up the coaching tree real quick?
Listen. You're not listening.
Greg Roman?
Tim, first of all, you're not. What does Greg Roman do with this? You're not listening.
You said the reason why you said the reason why Baltimore will win the division because Greg Roman is the coordinator.
I thought we were talking about the Browns right now.
I mean, no. Okay, so let me hit on that real quick. I said Greg Roman having a OC for Lamar Jackson, like Greg Roman, will help with his development because he's helped similar style quarterbacks in the NFL have success. He had Tyrod Taylor have success back in 2015.
Pause. No, time out. One at a time. Tyrod Taylor. Now, Josh, Jim, when I said that Tyrod Taylor was a good quarterback, did I get fucking backlash?
Did I call him a good quarterback? Tim, did I call Tyrod Taylor? Tim, you're not Tim. This is my issue with you, Rick. This is my issue with you.
You're not even listening, Tim.
You're not listening, and you're trying to impose, and you're trying to put words in people's mouths. I never called Tyrod Taylor a good quarterback. Did I?
I said no. I don't care. I said I. But how can you say Greg Roman?
Because he helped him have a successful season.
No, wait.
He helped him be successful.
Wait a minute.
He put him in position to be successful. What are you talking about?
But you just came out and said that he was not a good quarterback. I said he was.
He's not. Okay, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Tim. So Tim, a coach has a lot of influence in how a player plays. Yes or no? Is that true? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, then. What I'm saying is Tyrod Taylor benefited from the coaching and position that Greg Roman put him in, as did Colin Kaepernick for a few years as he was under Greg Roman. As soon as Greg Roman left and Jim Harbaugh left, you saw Colin Kaepernick regress. As soon as Greg Roman left, wait a minute. As soon as Greg Roman left Tyrod Taylor, you saw him regress. Okay,
hold on.
What I'm saying is, just listen. I don't think you're listening, so I'm going to talk. I'm going to talk to everybody.
I'm listening.
I don't think you are.
I'm listening. No, I'm listening, but here's what I'm trying to tell you. Was Kaepernick a good quarterback under Greg Roman? Seriously.
At the time,
politics. Was he? Was
he a good quarterback? He was a good quarterback. He was good. He was a good quarterback under Roman and Harbaugh's system. He took him to the Super Bowl. He made plays with his arm and feet. What I'm saying is Greg Roman has a history of picking guys similar to Lamar Jackson, putting him in his system and getting the best out of him, which I think Lamar Jackson is better than both those guys. I think he's a better passer, natural passer than both those guys, which is why I think they're going to succeed. That's what I'm saying. The only thing, like I said, the only thing I believe that Lamar Jackson needs to work on is getting down and not getting hurt. Now, back to the Browns, back to the Cleveland Browns, right? Again, nobody is saying that Zach Taylor is a better coach than Freddie Kitchens, or I'm not saying the Bengals are going to be a better team than the Browns. I think the Browns, just off natural talent, right, are going to win more football games, right? However, my issue is, or my prediction is, I don't think, or my assessment is, I don't think, or I don't know, I should say, how good a coach Freddie Kitchens is to kind of put this all together, because all the pressure and expectation. There's expectation on this team, Tim. There's no expectation on the Bengals, which is why I kind of am thinking why Dula and Fogg picked the Bengals and finished second. There's not a lot of expectation. So I get that. There's a lot of expectation on the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if Freddie Kitchens is the guy. He may prove it 5 weeks in. He may start 5-0, 6-0, 7-0, and then shit, we're all wrong. But as a prediction, because that's what this show is, right? It's a prediction show, okay? As a prediction, I'm not sure Freddie Kitchens is the guy to help lead this team to where they want to be, which is honestly the Super Bowl.
Again, I don't have a problem with the prediction. It was the reasoning. One fit for one, but not the other. That's what I gotta say.
But Tim, wait a second. I think you here's the thing. And it's not just you, it's everyone. You pick and choose what to listen to and what reasoning to take on and what reason to not take on. Because I simply said I do not like the Browns. I don't like their defensive depth. I really don't. And also, while they do have a very strong interior offensive line, you're telling me that Greg Robinson is your guy for 16 games at left tackle.
No.
You're telling me that.
Della, I came out and said when it comes to you brought up. You didn't bring a reason with coaching. You brought up players. That's fine. You have a right to say that. If a guy left the offensive line, you feel just like I can feel that this guy gonna do good. You can feel like, nah, I don't think he's the guy. You're scouting the guy. That's fine.
Wait a minute.
My problem was the reasoning about coaches. Coaches. You guys said coaches.
Of Austin Corbett. The fact that Greg Robinson, I even brought up Chris Hubbard, and you've got the audacity to turn around and say my focus was just the coaching. Tim,
no. Fogman. If you heard me what I said,
Cowboy star, you heard it right up your John Brown backside.
Fogman, you came out and said offensive line, but here's the difference between what you and Dulles said. You came out and said you compared the offensive line. All he said was just that one guy. He doesn't feel that the replacement is going to be the guy to make that line solid. You came out with the rankings, and all I came out and said was, but the only one who was ranking the top 10 offensive line was the Ravens at number 9. The Browns was number 18. The Bengals was number 24. Who did they draft in the first round? Well, Jordan Williams, God bless, he's not playing. He's out. They were ranked number 24. Where was this rank?
They're kind of all over the map here because this is the thing. I'm trying to figure out what did Fogg say?
No. It was when you and Fogg came out and said what you guys did was compare offensive line and coaches. That was the key. I'm cool with Della came out and said the defensive line, the offensive line, this guy here, X, Y, and Z, he's out. I don't know if he can take over. But you came out and said coaching. When I mean then Fogman came out and said, I don't believe offensive. You say offensive coordinator. Are you kidding me? He has no experience. Well, neither does Zach Taylor. But you got the Bengals number 2. The Bengals got more question marks than the Browns do. So they don't know if they be building or not.
Is the fact that I could say the Bengals might be 8-8 and the Browns might be 7-9 hurting you? Because if that's hurting your feelings,
it's not. No. It's not hurting me at all.
You know what, Tim? Just to defend Fogg, one thing I will defend on this. What Zach Taylor came from a situation and from Los Angeles where he had
winning
success.
situation.
He went to the Super Bowl.
Winning.
But Tim, is that? But you're trying to gloss over that like it's not true, or like it doesn't matter, but it does matter. I understand that. Listen, I understand that they both are inexperienced at being head football coaches. Okay, I get that. But to defend, I like Zach Taylor too. I like what he did with Jared Goff. I like what he did with that offense. So I think he's going to bring a little bit of that magic over to Cincinnati. I think, like I said, I think he's going to be the best coach and thing that's happened to Andy Dalton, whether he signs back there or not. Like I said, I think he's going to help Andy Dalton. Like Dula said, to connect with what he said, I think he's going to help Andy Dalton reach his full potential, kind of like what Alex Smith did in Kansas City with Andy Reid. I'm not comparing Andy Reid and Zach Taylor because I know you want to say that shit. I'm not comparing the two. Okay, I know you want to go there. I'm not comparing because you know, Tim, I know what you're trying to do. I know what you do. I'm not doing that. All I'm saying is that Andy Dalton has a coach that Zach Taylor was a fucking quarterback in college, not a good one, but he was. Okay. Here we go.
When I say John, all right, hold on. I'll ask you this. No.
I know he's going.
I want to ask you this. Besides Brian, Josh, Dilla, and Faulkner, I want to ask you this. Be honest.
Oh God.
Be honest.
Be honest. I'm sorry, guys.
No. Be honest. Was Greg Roman so good as a coordinator for Colin Kaepernick? Josh, Dilla, and Fogman. Don't say that in Brian. I want to hear from them three. Was Greg Roman so much of a good coordinator for Colin Kaepernick that he led the 49ers to a championship?
He didn't lead them, he helped.
No. You said lead earlier. We on video now. We on live. What? You said lead. You didn't say help.
Are you really going with semantics here? You know what the hell I'm talking about. You know who the leader of that team was.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! Look, hey,
let's be real. No politics. Let's keep it real, Della. Because I've seen you come and comment. I've seen your be flame. Let's keep it real. Do you trust Greg Roman to trust Lamar Jackson because he helped Kaepernick? Was Kaepernick so good under Roman?
Well, Tim. Tim, I'm just saying, if you listen to my prediction, I said I'm not high on the Ravens. I'm not high on Greg Roman. I'm not high on Lamar Jackson. I'm not high on John Harbaugh. I think he's done after this season. I think it's a step back. With that said, if we're going off, past history, because that's how people make predictions sometimes is past history. Some people pull shit out their ass, whatever. If we're going off the history, Greg Roman has made some guys who probably aren't very good appear to be good for a period of time. He's done that. So if he does it here, it's not a big surprise.
Hey, can you name any quarterbacks he have done? If you can.
We just named them. We just named them.
What
are you talking about?
All we heard was Kaepernick.
Listen, no. We just said he literally made Tyrod Taylor, who's average at best, look good.
His best season. He made Tyrod Taylor. He gave him his best season, and they went to the playoffs.
No. Let's elaborate on this because you want to diss Greg Roman.
And again, Rome back in the beginning, and then he went to the Texans, 2002. David Carr.
I put Roman and the Ravens. I picked them to be last. But with that being said, you sit here and shit on Greg Roman and Colin Kaepernick. Greg Roman had Colin Kaepernick throwing for over 3,000 yards, throwing for 50 touchdowns to 21 interceptions in the years that he was there with Colin Kaepernick. They went to a Super Bowl, by the way. His passer rating was over 90, all with the exception of 2014. And you want to sit here and shit on Greg Roman. Greg Roman made a great... No. Hold on a second, Timmy. Greg Roman turned around and he made adjustments on that offense. To which again, I'm with. I even said on a show last year with Josh, where I said, "Shit, I might be eating my words with Lamar Jackson." Brian, I think you were there when you disagreed with me. You said, "How can you give up on him so quickly?" And I'm saying I might be this might be bad because Lamar Jackson might not live up to what I was hoping he would live up to. And Greg Roman was the reason why he had a lot of success. So for people to turn around and put faith in Greg Roman isn't far-fetched, Tim. Look at the numbers. You talk about numbers, but 80% of the time, numbers lead you to the truth. The problem is you have you really need a magnet to guide you to the truth.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I see numbers can be misleading. If you don't explain the background behind the numbers, it can have you just with numbers. Numbers don't say it all. Give the background behind the numbers.
So what's misleading about what I said?
Because my thing is this, Fox. Me and you have a lot of conversations, and you yourself came out and said that Kaepernick was not a good quarterback. So my whole thing is this. Now, Greg, no. Here's the thing. Colin Kaepernick that year that he went to the championship. We all know that the defense carried that team. Now, don't get me wrong. I see what Brian was saying. If you're gonna come out and say that Lamar Jackson, and how about this? Let's keep it real. Where's Lamar ranked as far as quarterback in the division? Where's he ranked?
Why does that even matter?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Why?
It doesn't matter.
He's a second-year quarterback.
Why? So is Baker Mayfield. Because here's the thing.
I don't understand. I'm
gonna tell you why. Because Baker Mayfield is the only quarterback in the NFC North that doesn't have a question mark. Big Ben got age. Is he play? Is his time is up?
Whoa!
Come on!
Whoa! Baker doesn't have a question mark on him.
Wait, time out. Let me finish. Andy Dalton, his last year of his deal. Will he be replaced? Are the Bengals trying to be like even Brian agreed with me? Are they trying to throw all the way, or they're gonna see where they at? When it comes to Baltimore, they still train. The training wheels are still on Lamar.
The training wheels. Wait.
He's nowhere near a passer than Baker Mayfield.
Did you hear? This is how I know you don't listen. This is how I know you don't listen. I've been saying for a while that I love what the Ravens are doing with Lamar Jackson. I will go back to even back in the draft last year, not this past year, 2018 draft. And I said, and Bogman can back me up on this if he's still there. I said, whoever drafts Lamar Jackson is going to have to be 110% all in on what they have. They're not okay. So
I agree.
Here's the thing. What did the Ravens do when Lamar Jackson went in there? They literally took the playbook from Louisville, okay, and they brought it, and they put a little NFL spin to it, but they brought it to the league. What happened? You saw Lamar Jackson have success, and they recently, article, they added more to that. Lamar Jackson's going to have to be a better passer, and he showed that he can pass the football. You even tagged me. You called me again. You called me, or Facebook called me and said, "Brian, are you watching this Chargers game? I think it was either Thursday or Monday Night Football." Well, Lamar Jackson was throwing it very well. He said, "Yo, I think you were right. I think he can actually throw. I think he can pass." I know he can. He just has to be strong. He needs the reps. He needs the confidence in himself, right? And he needs confidence from the coaches. He can throw the football, but that's just not there. That's not who they are. Okay, their offense is not a guy. I said this during the draft where he's not going to be a 50 throw guy. Yep, he will never be that ever. Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson throws the ball 50 times, Ravens lose. It's over. If he throws the ball 50, that's not what they want to be. They are tailoring the offense around. And now, with the connection with Greg Roman, now here's where this connection comes in. Now, okay, I asked you a question, right? I asked you, do coaches have in football, especially, football coaches, do they have a heavy influence on their players in terms of their success? Okay, then. Colin Kaepernick, was he a good quarterback? Probably average to good, right? I'll give him that. Enter Greg Roman, he becomes a very good quarterback because of what Greg Roman did for him. He put him in position to succeed. That's what he did. And that's what Greg Roman did in Buffalo with Tyrod Taylor, who had his best statistical year, right, in Buffalo. And now, Greg, so I don't understand. See, I don't understand.
I'm gonna tell you.
Hold on. Oh, wait. I don't understand why you don't believe or get why Greg Roman can't do that with Lamar Jackson, who I could probably find people who will say that Lamar Jackson's actually a better passer than Tyrod and Colin Kaepernick, a better natural passer.
No, I'm gonna tell you that, Brian. I love it. That last part is the key, and I'm gonna answer that last part. The reason why is because it is. When it comes to Andy Dalton, Big Ben, and Baker Mayfield, they don't need the training wheels. They don't need
him. It's not training. No. Not training. See, you keep.
No. I'm
gonna stop you right there because that's a little disrespectful. They're not training wheels. It's the offense he's in. Tim, I don't understand why that's not registering. He plays in a specific offense that's tailored to his talent.
Fine. Listen, fine. If you don't like the training wheels, fine. I'll just say this: anything tailored, it's tailored to his offense. But my thing is this: you still have to let the guy be a quarterback. Because at the end of the day, you're playing two games a year against the same guys in that division with quarterbacks. Guess what? Who have no issues slinging that ball.
Did I not say that Lamar Jackson's gonna have to win some games? He have to prove he can pass the football.
But here's my thing.
Did I not say that?
No,
he's gonna have to make some throws.
Brian. So here's the thing. You got Baltimore number 1. Frogman got him last. Dulla had him last. Shim, where you had him at?
Second.
Second. For what, the Ravens?
Third?
Yeah.
Third?
No, I had him 7-9 last.
Oh,
last. 3 had him last. Now I had a number 2. Only reason why I had number 2 is because I felt that Big Ben and I love Big Ben. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks. I feel down the line, you're gonna see Mason Rudolph come in. That's my
see, like I have faith in Greg Roman. Like he does work right. He made Kaepernick obviously appear better than what he was. But he's also benefited from great defenses on those teams.
We're gonna let Big Ben die on the field.
No.
Mason Rudolph comes in, or Joshua Dobbs.
No. I think in a certain point.
Hold on, Josh made a great point, and
what's that
about Greg Roman? And if you look at the quarterbacks we're talking about, we're talking about Colin Kaepernick, we're talking about Tyrod Taylor.
Right.
We're talking about now Lamar Jackson. Greg Roman does a great job with athletic quarterbacks who aren't necessarily great pocket passing quarterbacks, and does a good job at maximizing their potential.
Right.
Now, again, me picking the Ravens to finish last is saying the Ravens will probably finish 6-10. Brian picking the Ravens to finish first is probably saying the Ravens are going to be 9-7 or 10-6. That's
a 10-6, 9-7
difference. Now we're saying this as this division, and Josh started this off. I mean, he kicked it off by saying this is going to be a very close, very tough division. So one win here or one loss there, separating a team, doesn't necessarily mean that what we're predicting is completely off base. Look, the Ravens could win the division. Were we wrong in saying that they could finish 6-10? Abso-fucking-lutely not, because this entire division is a shit show and a coin flip because of various positions on the offense, on the defense, on the coaching staff. That's why we're saying it's going to be close. We're predicting certain things. You
I I don't feel it is. But see, but here's my thing. But I want you. But I want you to come back. I want you to come back to this. I want you to come back to this.
You're going to fucking convince me that the Browns will finish 13.
That's ridiculous.
Listen
on that.
I bet my check on that.
No. But here's my thing. It may not be 13-3. It could be 10-7. Here's the thing.
Oh, here we go. Here comes the moonwalking. Here comes the moonwalking. Here we go.
Here we go.
Hey, he went from 13-3 to 10-6.
We need a Michael Jackson song.
All I'm saying is, I'm the man in the mirror. All right. all I'm saying is this: I still feel they're gonna win the division by 2-3 games away. I really do think so, because I think that every other team in that North got a question mark. I really do think the Baltimore Ravens, where Lamar Jackson is used, and the wide receiving defense is stacked. The defense is lovely. I think the defense is the best in that division. But how long can they carry that offense? When it comes to the Bengals, is Zach Taylor in or Andy Dalton? Is he going to start over? We don't know. He drafted Ryan. Again, we have seen coordinators come in here as head coaches who want their own.
So, Tim, can I say a question real quick? One question,
sir.
Real quick. So,
go ahead.
Mike Tomlin.
Yes, sir.
And Big Ben. Okay. Mike Tomlin, Big Ben, right? You got experienced quarterbacks like Andy Dalton.
Start the moonwalk, Tim.
Please.
Greg Roman is not my offensive coordinator.
Greg Roman owes a lot of fucking money. We're giving him a lot of fucking publicity right now. He better get a coaching job next year.
I just found out we got the same birthday. I fucking love Greg Roman now. Greg Roman is the best offensive coordinator in the goddamn league.
Oh man.
After
Tim, here's my thing.
This show, they're gonna think he is.
Seriously, I gotta put Greg Roman in our fucking tags. I didn't even put him in there.
Here's my thing, Tim. You have Big Ben and Mike Tomlin.
Right.
Pretty much the statesman of that division. You have John Harbaugh who's won a Super Bowl, right? Right. And then you have, obviously the Bengals are kind of reamped, but you still have a guy like Andy Dalton who has a lot of experience, who I think is a good quarterback who's just never been coached.
Right.
Right. And you have those three teams finishing behind a second-year quarterback who still has much to prove, and behind a coach who has done pretty much nothing in this league.
Right.
Right. And it's a pretty much unproven team that's never been used to the spotlight, that are pretty much have never really played well, have never played together before.
Right.
And you bring in a wide receiver who it has a diva mentality, who at any second could really just really drive this drive this team down a shithole. So you have that team with so many. So it's funny because you say the Ravens have a lot of question marks.
Right.
The Steelers have a lot of question marks.
Yes.
The Bengals have a lot of question marks.
Yes.
But the Browns, with what I just said, they don't have question marks, but they're going 13-3.
The reason why I say that, Brian, is because when it comes to the Browns, the only thing they can get in their way is themselves. They have the crazy. I haven't seen them.
Come out.
Come out.
We said that.
No, but here's a difference.
I was alluding to that.
No, but here's a difference between getting in front of yourself versus changes on a team is two different things. The Browns team, when it comes to the Bengals, Zach Taylor, and I always say that when you have a new coach, he drafted a quarterback. In due time, he's not going to stick with Andy Dalton as his guy. They want to make changes. So the Browns are out of it. When it comes to Baltimore, I don't know how. Listen, I like Lamar Jackson, and Brian, I know everybody shits on him. I don't shit on him. I want him to succeed because of the stories I've read about him in Louisville, the things that you and Fogman preach on your college football show. So I want him to win. I want to succeed. I just don't know how much faith they have in him. Even though, yes, during the playoffs, they got rid of Flacco for him. That show.
They tailored the entire offense to him. They have faith in him.
But my thing is this: it's still him. Even though they have faith in him, what did he do this offseason? That's the question. Now, here's the thing.
I agree.
That's the thing. Now, when it comes down to Big Ben, I said it last year. the best talent in the National Football League moving forward with replacement is the Steelers. I agree with Fogman when it comes to saying next man. I don't think next man up right away, but I think as far as I think next man up where we let this guy go by 2 years, this guy's gonna be the man. Because at the end of the day, no, I agree with that. This is why I think that this year Mason Rudolph will be that guy coming. If something happens to Ben, which I'm not praying on him, I love Big Ben. I'm a Big Ben fanatic. I pick him over Aaron Rodgers. I said it. I don't care. Big Ben is an animal on that field, but he's older. He has contemplating retirement. That's why I'm saying when it comes to those teams, they're going to start switching over. The Browns got the youth. They got the talent. What it was at the right time, they had the cap. They had the money. So at that time, they took everybody in. You're talking about Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt will resign with this team. This team is talented across the board. Now, the only thing that gets in their way is themselves. Now, here's the key. Jarvis Landry is the key to Odell Beckham Jr. destruction. You know why? That's his brother. That's his family. One thing about Odell Beckham Jr., he's very close to friendship and family. Very close. If you ever listen to his interviews, he loves Jarvis Landry. So my thing is Jarvis is going to have him in place. He's going to say, chill out. Relax. We got this. Odell, the camera will be on Odell if for some the one thing I do fear, let's say Jarvis has 3 straight games 100 yards, but Odell got 20, 40 yards as a decoy. How will Odell react to Jarvis Landry? Remember, in LSU, Odell wasn't a star. Landry wasn't a star. They were just players. The Giants, I mean, were they star players like that? Like the way they are now?
Tim, Odell Beckham Jr. was.
No, correct me. Listen, listen.
He was a star at LSU.
No, listen.
They didn't have a quarterback.
Listen, no. Time out. Listen.
Yeah, guys, we're going into 2.5 hours here. We could go in circles all fucking night here.
When it comes to college football. When it comes to college football, you know, I give you out of mind. Oh, listen, my final thought is this: is that the Browns.
Jesus,
listen,
unbelievable.
One side. Oh, listen, final thoughts.
My final thoughts. My
you need to talk to my dad. He's a child pediatrician or psychiatrist. There's something for that, Tim. There's something for that.
My final thoughts is
holy shit.
The Browns are tired. If y'all seen the bad new Bears a long time ago, the bad new Browns will take over the AFC. That's all I gotta say.
My final thought is that this division is going to be one of the toughest divisions in football, as it always is every year, and it's going to be separated by one win. And you know, it's as a Steeler fan, it's going to be one of those divisions and years where I'm going to be just probably develop some gray hairs at some point this year. So it's gonna be fun to watch. I will. I'm looking like Silver Fox, end of the year, probably.
Hey, listen, Silver Fox isn't a bad look. I've read and heard. So, listen, my final thought is going to be this: we've had a lot of football discussion, and we haven't had a lot of personal discussion. But when you talk about the Tyreek Hill situation, I think there's a lot to look at on both sides, really. I understand why people are upset that he wasn't suspended. I understand why people are upset that he's getting off. At the end of the day, we don't know the personal situations that individuals are involved in. We don't know what's out there. We know what we're being fed. But in all honesty, with the situation, it's not even about him and his ex-fiance. It's about the child and the child's well-being. That has to be the most important thing considered. And considering the fact that Child Services has not allowed neither his ex-fiance or he to take custody of the child is a tremendous black eye on the NFL, because you say you don't have access to that information. Well, I don't work for the NFL. I'm not a goddamn scout for the Chiefs, nor do I work for their PR division. But I know that the child is not in either of those persons' custody because of concerns
Mhm.
Due to the case that occurred. And the fact of the matter is that the NFL may have got this one wrong, given all the suspensions that they're handing out and that they've handed out. And I don't know why, but a child's well-being should be the most important thing to people in general when it comes to whether it's your sports team or not. And the fact that there are fans advocating for Tyreek Hill.
Mm.
If he was on the Chargers, the Raiders, the Broncos, you'd be saying he should have been suspended. But
Mhm.
because he's on your team, you're advocating for him. I have major concerns about fans in general when it comes to personal and real life issues, because I think we allow our fandom and our allegiances to our teams to cloud our judgment on reality.
I will say that it is still being investigated. So the NFL, if something more comes out, they still have an opportunity to get this right. So let's see what happens down the line.
Good message. Yeah, and that wraps it up for us covering the AFC North tonight, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And next week we'll be covering the South. On the 7th, we'll be covering the West, and then we'll you thought tonight was long. Well, 3 weeks is the NFC East, folks. So
Oh shit. Hey,
yeah.
if you're watching the show, make sure you got water. Make sure you got plenty of food.
Flashlight
And
matches.
flashlight matching. Like seriously.
Oh,
Oh
man.
man.
Ladies and gents, thank you for tuning in. We always love and appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us in our quarrel and our fucking maniacal attitudes. Thank you, everybody. We'll be seeing you next week. 8 p.m. Eastern, knuckleheads.